Roll down the windows and take in the view at the Fixed Ops Roundtable Route 66 road trip event.
The signs are pointing to our next segment. Take the next exit towards the BL Innovare panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tine here with Ted Ings and the BL Innovare panel. Ted, we've got quite the assembly of guests today.
We do, Sarah. And Sarah, isn't this exciting to bring all the greats of Fixed Ops together in one panel?
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing all of the insights that are going to be shared today.
With us today is Carol Kilner from BL Innovare. No stranger to this space on fixed operations. Also with us today, Shon Kingrey from the Kaiser Automotive Group in mild and tepid Madison, Wisconsin. Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, Florida. And we have the king himself, Tully Williams from the Nilo Company in Sacramento. Everybody, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. All right. What a great place to get started. Tully, you've seen a lot, okay, when it comes to modern vehicle inspection systems. Some of your thoughts as we get started here today.
Inspections are crucial. When you look at what we do for a customer brings their car to entrust in us to do something, maintenance, service, repair, whatever it is. But what they've done, you figure out 20, 30 years ago, we started doing these inspections, right? And when it comes to it, the customer expects us to have a trained professional to look at that car every time. If a car comes back a week later, we are doing a full inspection on that car. Pay the technician, by the way. But the goal is to make sure you are known to have a full inspection and have a report that's sent to that customer electronically and printed. This is a huge deal for all of us. If you are not doing this, you need to stop and start today. Now, as we get going, how do we help us in making quality inspections for those great technicians in the service drive? And that's the excitement part today.
Ed, some of your thoughts before I come to Shon and Carol.
Well, our customers are not specialists. It's like us going to the doctor's office. We go there because we don't know what's going on. We want to make sure things are good. And it's the same reasons why they bring their vehicles to us. We're the professionals. We know it best. It isn't like it has a wear indicator on it and the lower something wears down, the lower it gets to be like a tire, that by the time it's wore out, it's flat. Well, that's not the case with anything. Everything operates the way it's supposed to until it doesn't. And it's up to us to identify the areas that are heading towards that they have served 80% of their life, 90% of their life. You don't want to wait until it's served all of its life when we need it and it not be there. So it's up to us to highlight those items for our customers.
Shon, you recently did a panel with Carol up at Northwood and Sarah and I. Some of your thoughts.
So I have a unique experience where I've got to actually see Carol's product. And the product, what it does, guys, and let's be honest, we've all seen the driveline tools, and Tully and Ed and myself have all walked the NADA booths and seen the part of it, but the flavor of the week. What her program does, and I'm not going to steal it from Carol, I'll let her do her own presentation, but it takes some of that human element out of your service advisor at 7:30 in the morning, having 11 cars lined up, we're doing a walk around and missing those items. Because basically, guys, and again, I'm going to let Carol do her own explanation. It puts an ultra crazy light on the car as it comes through, and it catches the things that you and I can't catch. And she'll talk about the rental application and the car wash applications to tell you why they do it. You know, Eversentias. This gets rid of the Eversentia, or this is what your tech did to the car. So again, thank you, Ted. I'll let Carol take her own product, but it's unique. I've got to see it work.
Carol, tell us a little bit about your company and what you folks do.
Well, thank you, Ted. We've been in the industry 21 years now. We've always been in vehicle inspections. We started out in the mandated emissions inspections, and now we're focusing on these touchless technologies that help automate the drive lane process. So as the vehicle comes in, we're taking the human element out of it. Let your service advisors focus on talking to the customers, and these processes that can be automated with technology. Let's let technology do that for you. And that's what our products are set up to do.
Carol, I'd like to come back to you because we know BL Innovare really has their finger on the pulse of what the current reality is for service advisors and other businesses when they have vehicles on their drive. But what do you see today and what's on the horizon for technology?
Well, I think it's about scanning everywhere. You can't go anywhere today. I can't go to the airport, any at grocery store. They're scanning everything. So I think the technology is here to stay. I think that the challenge is trying to solve this problem at a price point that makes sense. It's great to put in, this really expensive technology, but if it's not solving a problem to match that, it's a little bit overkill. So the idea is to find this technology that will solve that problem at a price that makes sense. And also we find a lot of people want to adopt this technology in a wide range of dealerships, not just your big high volume dealerships, but some of the smaller, lower volume dealerships also want to be able to adopt the same types of technology. So you need to have that flexible footprint and price point that all of the workshops in the group can adopt this type of technology.
Ed, I recently went through the airport and, here is the scanner. And you know what? Every customer, every guest coming through, we're used to it in our daily lives. And, I think our customers expect it on automotive as well.
Well, they should expect it. They expect us to be the professionals, and they expect us to have the latest technology to check everything over. But just look at from the scanning elements that you're talking about with the airport, look at how much that has evolved over the last 20 years. And so there's no surprise with 21 years of experience with the product that we have coming out now. And so and those are the tools that allow us to be efficient. If we don't want to inspect vehicles, we don't need the tools to inspect vehicles. But if we want to inspect vehicles, we need the solid process and then the technology that elevates that process.
Tully, your thoughts?
100% agree with Ed. I think that when you look at what customers expect from us today, we have these beautiful buildings, we have these great, well-trained technicians, right? And part of what we do at a dealership that nobody else does is we have great technologies that help assist our great service advisors to do those great things, right? And our service technicians, right? When you look at the driveway processes that we have, we want to do those initial inspections that we can then ask the customer about. And then, of course, we want our world-class trained technicians to do that final inspection to give us that list. So everything that can do to help the process go smooth and honestly is a must.
Sarah, from your perspective, over in the BDC and communication center, what were some of the things that you've typically heard from customers that, could be put to rest here with solutions like this?
Well, as Carol was describing, there's a lot of applications for where the customer perceives the issue to happen, right? And, you think about people being very touchy about car washes and, this scratched my hood or, I don't want it running through your machine. There's a lot of, I guess, apprehension from the customer when it comes to turning over the keys to somebody that they don't know and what's going to happen between point A, point B, and point C to when they finally pick up the vehicle. And I'm guilty of this myself as a customer, but sometimes the customer just isn't aware of something that's happened on the vehicle because they don't go to that side of the vehicle that often. I'm the person that I load my kids on every single door of my minivan. But, before kids, I was only getting in the driver's side seat. So I might miss something that happened on the passenger side until a friend of mine pointed it out. And I couldn't recall when and where that happened. So, from the customer perspective, this just adds a whole unbiased layer of transparency that helps to really, just inform the customer and also keep them aware that, we care as the business to put forward and scan that vehicle every single time. But then we're also doing that additional check that maybe a customer wasn't aware of before they came in.
Carol, do you want to weigh in on some of this?
Yeah, I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, sir. I think with data, you don't have that kind of drama. And we've had lots of examples where customers have, got blamed for some rim damage. And, if the dealership had the bodyguard system in place, so they were able to bring it up and say, hey, look, this was actually here before you came in. We'd be glad to help get it sorted out. But, we do take care of your vehicle and let's get this sorted for you today. And it really changes that discussion and builds that loyalty to the dealership. They got my back.
So, Carol, you've got two products at BL Innovare. Maybe just give us a little bit of overview. There's Fastline and there's also Bodyguard as well.
That's correct. So the Fastline product, actually our latest evolution of the product, we've combined the quick alignment check as well as the body scanning into a single product. So somebody that wants both the ability to generate revenue opportunities with an alignment check as well as do the body scanning, that's the Fastline product. We have smaller dealerships, they're not interested in the alignment checking system. So then we have the standalone bodyguard vehicle scanning solution, which can be used outdoors and be used in a variety of different locations on the dealership premise.
Shon, your thoughts?
I'm going to take it one step further, Ted, where, we talk about, listen, not every customer is dishonest, but we've all been blamed for things that, up in the belt line of the salt that I live in, you scratched it and the rust has been there for a year and you can tell. The other advantage to this is, and this is what Carol and I talked about in the panel, is when you scan the vehicle and it alerts the advisor, guys, that kind of eliminates the client from doing that because they knew you looked from the beginning. Because when it pulls in and nobody does a walk around, they kind of got you already. If they want you, because that's where they ever sent you come from. And this alerts it, says, hey, by the way, Mr. Client, there's some damage on your wheel. To Carol's point, we can take care of that while you're here. Well, you're not going to get blamed for it because you've already brought it up. Lord help you if it actually turns into an upsell. You got a body shop where you could upsell into it, but it does eliminate it on the front side, so they're probably a whole lot less likely to accuse you on the back side.
Well, and as Carol was talking a little bit about the data, one of the things that is really increasingly important, both from the OEM perspective and from just customer satisfaction in general, CSI is a real topic of conversation in the industry, and especially tying into the hospitality. Tully, I'd like to come to you first. How do you see technologies like this really improving that CSI experience?
Well, CSI stands for Customer Supplies Income, and without customers, we have no income. And when you look at this product we talk about, Shon said it very well, is that when a customer comes in and we do not do a walk around, or we do it the old-fashioned way, we walk around and take a bunch of pictures of it, is the service advisor really looking at the car? No, he's just going through the process and the moves. So now we can't tell the customer, yes, there was a ding and dent there. A customer comes in, comes back out, they pick up their car and say, hey, that ding wasn't there. We can look at the picture and we're trying to look it out. But here's the thing, we're in the repeat referral business. What are we going to do? We're going to fix the car without any questions, because that's what we all do. And what we're doing here is what's going to happen with Carol's product is that now when we go through the scan, it's automatically going to alert us, not the human saying the bad news. This icky machine tells us the bad news. And we can say, Mr. Customer, we notice we have a dent or a ding or whatever it is. And of course, would you like us to take care of that today? Just want to make sure you know about it. And then we won't have the question when it gets picked up. It is a monumental task. We fix so many things and we do a pretty good job taking pictures. Is that the problem is that we take a lot of pictures, but we don't tell the customer what's in the picture.
Ed, to come to you on this, there's a lot of pieces that Carol was describing with, having this data where the advisors, it frees up a lot of their time and it helps them to educate the customer, which helps the CSI equation. Your thoughts on this?
So from the standpoint of it frees up the advisor, it's the seamless element. It happens automatically as you come through. But where it really helps on the CSI is the validation, the timestamp of when it was scanned, how it was scanned. And most of the time it's very visual. The customer sees it being scanned. So their mind shifts. Both Tully and Shon talked about there's things that happen that they may not, and you did as well, Sarah, things that happen that you may not have known about. Well, when you see those things, or if you came in with that expectation, then I'm gonna try to slide this through if they're trying to do that. And then you see that those things are happening, that they're taking pictures or scanning this or doing that, it automatically disarms them from even attempting to try something that they shouldn't be trying to begin with. But also, more so than any of it, it's the validation that creates the trust. And if we're driving for CSI, that's a key element to drive CSI, is raising the level of trust.
Shon, your thoughts?
Well, I was probably trying to sugarcoat a little bit more until he kind of hit it on the head there. Guys, the minute you go to the camera to blow the picture up and show the customer, you've already lost. Because to Tully's point, you're still going to fix the car. All you did was tell the customer they were lying and unsugarcoating it there. And now it's a confrontation. You've already lost it. I mean, the battle's lost and you're up against it. So, and you're dead right. And back to that Northwood event, everything we talked about there was CSI. Everything is CSI now. It's all that anybody's talking about. And again, to Ed's point, this is the solution to part of your CSI problem on the front side.
And Carol, you've experienced, BL Innovare has been in the industry over 21 years, and y'all have seen an evolution of that customer in this time. So what advice would you suggest for people looking to improve their CSI with these technologies?
I think take a look at the processes that you have in place now and see how that technology can complement and let your people focus on what they do best, that human interaction, and anything that's repetitive that you're doing over and over again that requires consistency. That's a great opportunity for technology.
Carol, to follow up on what Sarah just asked, you mentioned those 21 years in the industry. What are some of the other verticals that you've seen that would be interesting to the fixed ops community where technology like this is employed today?
Well, I think the rental car is a big one. They're obviously interested in incremental damage. When you rent a vehicle, you bring it back, they're looking for what those added damage is to it. We have car auctions that are looking at using this technology to record the condition of the car before it goes out. Used car dealerships, same thing. They want to get the condition of that vehicle before it goes into the customer's hands, just to remove any sort of potential drama. We've been involved with obviously car washes that touch your vehicle. There's a lot of finger pointing there. So it's a pretty harsh environment for the technology. You got lots of soap and chemicals going at it, but we have a lot of in that vertical entry and exit of car washes to protect the owners of it.
Tully, there's a lot of interest right now from automotive in this type of technology, especially on the service drive. And a lot of dealers, I'm imagining maybe your group as well, has looked at technology that may not have been quite ready for prime time, if you will. What are some of the things that you've learned along the way that we need to be aware of in this type of inspection?
It's got to work, and I think that, a lot of times that NADA is a great place to go visit, right? But a lot of times when you have a product that's been out for so many times, right, and then and it's been out for a year or two, a lot of times it doesn't work like it was advertised. And I think that when you look at a company like this that's been in business for 20 years, that's going to give us a lot of reassurance that it does work. Too, is that you want someone that has done it longer than 3 years. And why do I say 3 years? Because that's when they do a lease, right? Or there's a contract for 3 years, and you want to know, are you keeping it or not, right? And I think that when you look at products like this, we are desperate for great technology to help us. Like Ed said, it helps us be honest and true to our customers. It gives that reassurance. And the thing is that sometimes we might jump the gun and buy something that we think is going to work, and it end up does not work. And then it's a huge thorn. So now the customer does distrust that technology. Our service personnel, our greatest asset, does not trust that technology. You might as well just take it out and write it off because it doesn't work. And I think now when you have a company that's been in business for a long time, has great customers. Now, one thing she did mention I loved a lot is used cars. Think about this. When we buy used cars, shouldn't every used car be driven through? Yes. Should every trade be done through? Yes. Should cars that we purchase off the service drive be driven through? They already have been. And that can help a used car buyer or a person acquisition specialist in the service drive make sure that we're giving the right value to that car with documentation and honesty. That is going to be a big deal for us. I see that just as much as it is to help us protect ourselves from dent and dings when they drive in.
Carol, I'm going to ask you to weigh in on that. I'm going to ask Sarah as well on the used car side.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid point there. And the technology is already sitting there helping your new car or your service lane. So I think it's a perfect opportunity. We see some of our customers use it for vehicle valuation. If they have remote valuation, they use these images along with other data to send for the remote evaluation of vehicles.
Well, Ted, and to both Tully and Carol's point, speaking of the used car side of things, this is such a great application when you're thinking about, not only in an auction, that gives a buyer so much more confidence if they know an auction is actually using technology like this before they put that inventory through the lane. And, from the trade appraisal side of things, how many times do you see a used car manager just look up from the tower, they see the trade, they're holding the keys, they don't even crack the door on it? But, something like this, if you can go run it through and get a really comprehensive overview, there's pieces that help either add value to the customer's trade appraisal that you could speak to the customer about. The wheels look great. This is an awesome, trade-in. We're not going to have to do these additional steps when it comes to reconditioning. So we can give you a little bit more for your trade. Or, conversely, maybe there's some things that you recognize that you would have missed otherwise. And so, Ted, so many applications for not only the fixed operation side of the business, but also the variable.
Tully has got numerous service drives there in Northern California, in the Sacramento market. Ed, your situation is a little different because you've got that largest shop on the East Coast, that big, beautiful shop. What are some of the applications that you would envision as well, both for the service customer and for the used car acquisition as well?
So let's take it down the used car path for just a moment, a little moment longer, because the used car element it is always, what I preach here is it's a search warrant. Nobody comes in and tells us what's wrong with their used car. They're not telling you why they're wanting to get rid of it. They're not telling you any of those elements. Is there anything wrong with it? No, everything's fine. It's been great. I've had it for this long and whatever else. And then you go out and you walk it, you do different things, you find different things. Well, we all need tools to make us more efficient. And from an aesthetic standpoint, people trade vehicles anytime. But in the rain, it's tough to see some of the elements of the dings and scratches and whatever else. Well, this doesn't matter. It'll scan it regardless, and you can see those things. And so it really keeps everything transparent. And transparency is another element that ties back to the element of trust. And the more you can build those layers of trust, then we all win from it. And then that makes the customer feel more confident to come back and do service with us. And then we're going to scan it each and every time that it's in. And so it all ties together with the right processes for it to tie together. Without the process, it doesn't. So it still takes the process, but then this enhances it over the top.
And Shon, I'm thinking of your dealership group there, 8 stores. We got a few more months of winter ahead of us. Inclement weather, snow, and so on. It's tough to see everything on these vehicles, whether it's a service customer or whether it's a used vehicle acquisition.
Right, and I'm going to take it back to the CSI since we've talked about used. I've been taking some notes here. Consistency without human contact, and consistency to me goes both ways. To Ed's point, you have to scan the car every time. It can't just be here or there, or you scanned it one time and not the next time. If the client doesn't see it every time, then they don't believe in it, which probably means the advisors don't believe in it. And to Tully's point, where NADA is a great place to see things. I can tell you, Tully and I were on the NADA floor a year ago, viewing a product that, quite frankly, didn't work during the demonstration. I mean, how bad is that? Carol's got a product that's proven, it's been around forever. The other part of the consistency is the human element, where, let's be honest, that Porter guy ends up becoming the Big Mac running guy half the time, or he's the guy going to get lunch for everybody and breakfast for everybody. And everybody laughed, but we all know it's true. If you take to Carol's, you remove the human element where the machine's doing the consistency, where Tully and I pound our chest that there are elements that we still need human contact in the car business. This is an element where we don't need human contact. The computer can do the work consistently every time without fail. The client knows it, the advisor knows it, you know it. That way, if there is a question, you're not going, God, I hope this is one we scanned, because we've all asked the question. Oh, and lo and behold, it's the one you didn't scan that day.
That's right. And Carol, I mentioned earlier the airport scenario. While they have humans there as well, the human is not relied on to scan the guest coming through, because we may miss something. We rely on technology, and the same thing in the healthcare industry, so that we don't miss anything, and we trust that technology, Carol.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Carol, a follow-up, if I may, because BL Innovare, your team, we have a lot of listeners that are not just here in the United States, but we also have an audience abroad, and there's also going to be an international audience at NADA. So you're in 20-something countries with this technology. What are some things that you're seeing globally in other markets that our fixed ops community can benefit from here?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is we're seeing out of the Scandinavian countries. We all know that they're very big on the EV adoption there. And I think I looked at some stats. It was Norway last year, almost 90% of the new vehicles were EVs. And that was a jump from 2019, where it was around 50%. So they're kind of ahead of the curve on that EV adoption. But what we're seeing is we're getting a lot of interest in the alignment checking thing, because their shops are now not as busy, and they know they need some additional work. So they're looking for those additional service opportunities, the tires, the brakes, the alignment. So that's where we see a big interest from the Scandinavian partners there.
Carol, if our audience wants to learn more and perhaps have their questions answered, what's the best way for them to reach out? And will you be later this week in New Orleans at NADA? Absolutely.
I'll personally be there. We're going to be at booth 8750. I'd love to talk to you. We'll show you some of our technology live in action, and would love to share with you some of our success stories in North America as well as around the globe.
And for those who may not be going to New Orleans, what's the best way to reach out and get their questions answered?
You can drop me an email there, or you can visit our website. But I would love to chat with you, or connect you with one of my team members that can chat with you as well.
Sarah, so many great things happening in this part of our industry.
Ted, this is becoming just an increasingly important conversation. CSI, all of the technology that we're seeing with partners like BL Innovare.
Everybody, thank you for being with us here today and weighing in on this. Tully Williams at the Nilo Company, Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln, Shon Kingrey at the Kaiser Automotive Group, some of the best dealers and dealership groups in the country. And Carol Kilner, congratulations to you at BL Innovare for all the great work that you're doing. And we'd like to have you back and learn more as we go through the year. As the market continues to change rapidly, and we learn more about how dealers are using technology such as yours.
Absolutely. And thanks for the opportunity, Ted and team.
Everybody, BL Innovare, you can find them on the web. You could see the URL scrolling at the bottom. Carol's email is there. Also, if you happen to be at NADA, booth 8750, please visit them there. And again, Carol Kilner and BL Innovare here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Prior to having the inspection lanes, we were doing 125 or so alignments per month. We're approaching 400 alignments per month now. Quite a return on investment.
Most of the time, customers don't even know that their alignment is out. So now we're able to catch it before they start to notice any severe, pull to the left or to the right. And we're able to pick up accurate measures of their tire tread, whether or not the alignment's good or bad. And so it just gives the customer kind of a wondering of, oh, I have no idea. Thank you for telling me. And then go ahead and tell them, it's a quick, easy process. If you'd like us, to get the alignment corrected, we can.
Our service lane is well equipped with camera systems all the way around, but when the Coats and the Bodyguard team came in and set up our equipment, it has helped us dramatically in savings as far as individuals saying that we damaged or we scratched their car.
So as a new advisor, I could not imagine doing my role today without the inspection lane.
Looking at the health report printout that I received with the ROs, I am able to myself better understand if a vehicle maybe even has bent components before even getting it on and checking it myself on the alignment rack.
It definitely has a positive effect on CSI. Customers enjoy knowing that their car is in good condition, and they want to know if it's not. As far as having the inspection lane, is something that we felt very strongly about. We really felt that it was going to be a good investment. It is definitely something that has high gross. I would recommend it to any dealership that wants to make the investment, because you'll get your return probably in about 6 months.
Fastline and Bodyguard. Exceptional value as standalone products. Together, they bring you the ultimate solution. Fastline Evo and Fastline Plus. Combining the best of both worlds.
Go, 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 go. Hey, how would you like to pay? Card, cash, or check? do a card.
Okay, thank you very much. And will you sign right here?
Sure.
Okay, have a great day.
Great, thank you.
Introducing Dealer Pay Moves, Dealer Pay's new mobile application for dealerships on the move. It's really great because all you have to do is search for your repair order. It's then going to search whichever DMS that the dealership is connected to. As you can see, it's going to pull up that customer record in that open repair order. I'm simply going to select it. Now you've got all your customer details here, including the surcharge amount if it were to be applied with a credit card. I've got options to pay by credit debit. I can key enter the transaction. I can use a paper check or even report cash. I can even add transactions in here so I can do some real-time voids and refunds. Dealer Pay Moves is a great solution for your dealership to stay relevant and mobile.
Get a glimpse of the future with our mobile service operations panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Ted Ings with Vanessa Collins, and we are at Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, Florida. We are here with the Mobile Service Operations Panel. Everybody, welcome to Fixed Ops Roundtable, and congratulations on all the great work you're doing here at Bozard.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a super exciting panel. And to start, if we could go down the line and introduce yourself and what you do here at Bozard Ford Lincoln, starting with Heather.
My name is Heather Anderson, and I...
She does everything. Let's just say it. Just go ahead and say it.
My name is Elise Gelati, and I am a mobile service advisor.
My name is Brad Nearing. I'm a remote service tech.
I'm Jeremy Stevens. I'm the operations director.
I'm Josh Woodleaf. I'm a remote service tech as well.
Kyle Goodman, also a remote service tech.
Well, everybody, welcome, and very glad to have you. And Vanessa and I are excited to learn more about mobile service and all the unique things that you're doing here at the dealership.
Yeah, so our first question is, how has Bozard's mobile service team achieved record-breaking success, and what operational strategies have made this possible?
Who wants to take it? Brad, you want to take that?
Anybody?
I can start with it. I think one of the big things is it's all about the vision. So Bozard Mobile, or Bozard in general, they have this big picture vision, and they kind of set that as the milestone that they're going for, and they don't really worry about how they're going to get there. They just start taking action steps, and that's what has got us to where we are now. So it's kind of putting one foot in front of the other, figuring things out as you go, and just making it happen.
Jeremy, would you like to add to that?
No, I love that, because I was like, oh shoot, what is Brad going to say now? But no, that's definitely where it starts, is having that vision and going after it. And what's cool about it is, about this time last year, we only had 11 employees here, and now we have well over 50 employees here. And that's all that really grew it, is the people around us. Like, you know, I made fun of Heather because she does a lot of stuff. And that's what everybody on this team does. It's not just their job title. They go above and beyond outside their scope. Just like the guys here, you know, if they need to pick up a part, grab to somebody, they make things happen. I heard Elise talk about, hey, you go to lunch, I'm going to cover your van. So it's everybody working together for that one common goal.
Elise, did I hear you right that you are a mobile service advisor?
Yes.
So you handle strictly the mobile?
The mobile, yep. I mean, the mobile we do, we go out, and just take care of the customers. We're essentially the link between the technician and the customer, so.
For a lot of the folks watching today who are just starting in mobile service or have been thinking about getting into it, that's a novel thing to hear, that you're a mobile service advisor and that there's actually a specialty on that as well. Heather, talk to us a little bit more about mobile service and your role here.
So I do, like he said, a little bit of everything between scheduling, helping the service advisors. This whole thing wouldn't be possible without the teamwork that we have. So between parts, the technicians, scheduling, the advisors, the management, we all work together really well to make the best service we can for the customer. And that's really our whole entire goal. So that's what we strive for.
And are you gentlemen physically on the vehicles out doing the mobile services?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So when you do that, what's the reaction of the customer? It may be their first time, maybe they've had it multiple times, but how do the customers feel? I know you said we want to know about the customers and what they're thinking, but how do the customers feel when you arrive at their location?
Well, most of the time, the first thing I hear is, wow, this saves me so much time. I don't have to drive all the way to the dealership. I don't have to sit all that time in a waiting room. I can just sit at home, continue doing what I'm doing while you're working on my car, and then get check-ins right there rather than hearing it from someone else. I can hear it right from the technician.
And how about you, Kyle?
Yeah, and not only at home, but also we can go to customers' workplace, do it in parking lot at their workplace. It just really provides flexibility to get whatever they need done to their vehicle.
Jeremy, you and I had a conversation recently about the customer's viewpoint on this mobile service. What are you hearing from customers? What's their feedback?
It's been a breath of fresh air, because when you're a service manager, you're always kind of scared to look at your CSI and some of your emails, just because you never know what's going to happen. But this one has been a breath of fresh air, because we get more great feedback than anything about, and they name drop the technicians and our service advisors too. And Heather has this little brag wall, so she posts a lot of stuff on that, and now we circulate an email from it. So for a customer to actually send you an email that praises your guy is pretty powerful. So, and that's what I love, to open up my email and see those responses in there. That's pretty cool.
Elise, do you get a lot of customers, repeat mobile service customers, who are asking for that again? And if so, do they ask for the technician by their hand?
A lot of them, yep. And that's what we try to do. Like if a technician goes out and diagnoses that vehicle, we try to send the same technician back out. It builds rapport with the customer. And yeah, they do. They'll specifically ask for one technician.
Let me ask you all, we've heard a number of things today here at Bozard this week about the team collaboration, working together in teams. How important a role has that played in mobile service? I'll start over here with Kyle. We'll go down the line with that.
I think Jeremy kind of mentioned it a minute ago, how we all, like as technicians on our side, we not only work on vehicles, but when another technician needs help, we're able to go help them. If someone needs a part brought out to them, we can get a part from the parts department, bring it out to help make sure that everyone's kind of pulling the rope in the same direction to make sure the customers are getting taken care of.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, without the connection, the communication that we have, this wouldn't work as well as it does. I mean, it all starts with the advisors getting the information to us, and then us going out, talking with the customers directly, and then relaying that back and forth with parts, with the advisors, making sure everyone stays in the loop, stays satisfied with what we're doing, and truly knows what we're trying to get done.
And Jeremy, if I could ask the question on top of that one, I've heard that a lot of times Bozard will utilize mobile service to help a customer overcome a particular challenge. And we're sending a truck out with a tech or techs to help the customer out. It might be not just for a maintenance or repair, or it might be even something sales related, or something that requires you to look at the vehicle as soon as possible. I don't know if you want to speak to some of that.
Yeah, that does happen quite a bit, especially if somebody like purchases a vehicle and the next day they may have issues. Y'all remember last week or 2 weeks, Ray just stopped by. A guy had a flat tire on the side of the road. So Ray works our mobile van, our mobile tire van, and he just stopped and helped the guy on the side of the road get his tire fixed, and he was able to go to a job interview. So we have that flexibility to just go a little bit above and beyond.
Wow.
Sure. I mean, that actually ties into the teamwork side of it. So when it comes back to what I said at the beginning with that vision, when you have a vision, you really need a team to help reach it and reach that goal of building something like the mobile service team that Bozard has built.
Yeah.
And it's because we all work together. So it might be, like Kyle said, someone running you a part. You don't have a parts house behind you. You have to go and actually, diagnose a car and then go get the part. And someone may have to bring it to you. And that's where the teamwork comes in.
Can I ask a follow-up too?
Sure.
Have you ever had to do something like a rescue, like a mobile rescue, and go up and help a customer?
overcome that?
Yes, we sort of like what Jeremy touched on. If we have to go out and do a rescue, if someone's broken down somewhere in a parking lot or something, we will go to them. We've also had to help other teammates out and bring things out to them. So it does happen.
Okay, Elise.
Yeah, so I think just, our main goal is to satisfy the customer and make sure that their needs are met. And working as a team is really the only option to get to that goal. And we have a great team. We're all day long going back and forth with each other. What would you do in this, or how would you do this? And it just at the end of the day just meets our goal, and it's pretty cool.
And Heather, since you're handling a lot of different things here on the service side, your thoughts on mobile?
I mean, we're very fortunate. This is something that's never been done before.
Right.
So it's trial and error, but with all of us together, with all the different departments, whether it's parts, management, we all come together, give each other different ideas, how we could try to do something, and we never say no. We try it and see how it works and come up with the best solution, and somehow we always make it happen.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So what Heather said, because teamwork, we always talk about positive stuff, but every once in a while somebody has to grab me by the throat sometimes and say, hey, that's a dumb idea. And we've created that environment to where they can openly say that, and it's not going to hurt my feelings, and vice versa, because that's the one thing that you don't want to have is, you're the problem and nobody's going to tell you about it. So our team is getting very good about being more vulnerable and saying what you kind of feel instead of just kind of sugarcoating it.
Yeah. And Jeremy, you said you've seen a lot of growth this past year. So my next question, and anybody else can answer as well, is what do you see over the horizon for mobile service operations in the future and even into 2025?
So here's the cool thing is I really don't see an end to it. I just see more opportunities, because like Brad last week, he went and done a job that he probably wasn't 100% comfortable with. And then he says, I realized I didn't have to do half that stuff and I could do one twice as fast next time. And that's a little job we never would normally do. So we're just stretching our boundaries to see how far we can push it. We don't know until we hit, because everybody's scared that if you do mobile, what happens if this happens? It's like you do it like you would do in a normal shop. You just take care of it. We have tow trucks. I mean, we can make things happen if we go to it. So with Horizon, I think it's just going to grow. I think tires is going to be a big thing, just to see how far we can push it with recalls and everything else.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Part of the tenets we've heard so much about at Bozard are serve and respect. How does mobile service fit into that? Or how does that fit into mobile service? That's for anybody on the panel that you'd like to go ahead and tackle that.
Well, we're servicing our community by coming to their house and taking care of them, in the most convenient way for them. They don't have to leave their house. They have sick kids. They have a sick family member. They have multiple kids and don't want to leave. They're at work, and they really appreciate it. We get so much positive feedback about it. We're definitely taking care of the community.
I think that goes into the respect part of it as well. Like, we're respecting that our customers have things that they have to do throughout their day, and we're making it easier on them, going to them instead of having to have them come to us. So.
Let me ask a question for the entire group. The word time has come up a couple different instances here on this panel. How important do the customers value their time, when it comes to mobile service, and the fact that you can go and perform the work there at their place?
I would say that's probably the most important thing to our customers. Time is a very valuable resource for all of us, and for our customers, if we can save them any amount of time, they're nothing but grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
More important than price.
Yes.
I would 100%.
All right. You do realize that what you're doing here at Bozard is going to be looked back on years from now, that all the groundbreaking things that you did here as this team. So congratulations to all of you and the leadership team here at Bozard for taking the initiative to make this happen, and Jeremy, for you making the initiative to come and lead this team as well.
Yeah, thank you.
That's right. I'm Ted Ings. I'm here with Vanessa Collins. We're at Bozard Ford Lincoln, the home of mobile service, and we will be right back.
3, 2, 1. Bozard Built initiated and working full force. Bozard Built is a go.
DocuPad digital transaction systems online. DocuPad is a go.
ABN network information displays refined and active. Internal messaging is a go.
Mobile van fleet expansion secured. Software advancements underway. Remote service team engaged. 21,537 remote ROs closed. Remote operations are a go.
Video multi-point inspection technology sustained. Video MPI is a go.
Microsoft and Azure conversion complete. IT devices activated and safety assured. Systems and IT are a go.
280 merch orders received. Employee swag is a go.
Customer satisfaction rating soaring. CSI excellence is a go.
Over 16 EV chargers installed, grounds maintained, new storage room activated, facilities is a go.
33,555 warranty tickets closed. Warranty processing is a go.
4,925 government and fleet vehicles sold. Government and fleet sales is a go.
106,064 main shop ROs closed. Main shop operations are a go.
Parts delivered to Ford Shop, Lincoln Shop, Quick Lane, Accessories Department, and the Remote Operations Center. Countless of parts delivered and installed. Over $1.5 million in parts inventory. Parts department is a go.
Convenience delivered. 2,110 pickups. 1,956 deliveries. Totaling 4,066 seamless service experiences. Pickup and delivery is a go.
187 employees onboarded seamlessly. Employee experience is a go.
More than 2,800 pre-owned vehicles delivered with precision. Used vehicle department is a go.
More than 800 new Lincolns sold. Exceptional experiences delivered. Lincoln sales is a go.
22,197 Quick Lane repair orders completed. Quick Lane is a go.
9,587 vehicles detailed and looking good. Detail and pre-delivery are a go.
Transactions completed. Over 7,524 retail deals posted and thousands of checks issued. Accounting department verified. Accounting is a go.
167,252 calls. Received by the Communications Center. Customer engagement is a go.
More than 3,100 new Fords sold. Sales milestones achieved. Ford sales is a go.
Bozard's 2024 priorities accomplished. The best team on the planet confirmed. All departments are operating and stable. Bozard Ford Lincoln crew readiness confirmed. 2025 preparedness checked and verified. Bozard Ford Lincoln is
3, 2, 1, go.
All systems go.
Grab your shades because this next segment is looking bright. It's the Autovision panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings, and we have an exciting panel with us today. The Autovision panel has some exciting announcements, Ted. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it.
Sarah, you're so right. And the industry right now, in terms of acquiring vehicles, it's moving lightning fast and so many things happening when it comes to that and reconditioning. I want to welcome our panel, which includes A.J. McGowan of Autovision, who is here with us today. And on behalf of the fixed operations, we have Tully Williams, the fixed ops director at the Nilo Company in Sacramento, Shon Kingrey, vice president of fixed operations at the Kaiser Automotive Group, both to provide some color. Sarah, I'm excited about this panel and where we're headed.
I am too, Ted. And just, to really kick things off, we've got a lot to discuss today, but I want to talk about the used vehicle market. This has been absolutely in the headlines across the board for our industry. Used cars more than ever are becoming front and center, and especially in the fixed operations departments too. So to kick things off with our panel, Tully, I'll come to you first. When you think about the state of the used vehicle market and the actions that you have to take, if you're looking to acquire vehicles and add them into the inventory in the store, And especially after reconditioning, how often are you faced with tedious legwork to either, acquire these vehicles or, to market and merchandise them?
Well, I'm going to say on the acquiring side is the hardest part. If you talk to any of our great service used car managers at the Nilo company, the biggest thing is finding cars. Now, if a manufacturer has an auction like BMW, one of our brands, they have a great option for us to buy cars at. Very rare. Otherwise, we're out there trying to find great cars that we can sell to some of our customers. Service drive is a great way of looking at it. Can we mine the service drive if someone wants to sell a car? Do we have buy centers? Yes. And of course, you have auctions, which is the worst place to buy a car. So taking and buying cars this year will be the hardest thing for used cars. When it comes to marketing and stuff like that, that's probably more of an easier side. We've been doing it for years. We've got pretty good at it. There's a lot of great companies out there that help us in that. But acquiring cars, getting them through the shop and on the driveway as fast as possible is the critical. When we look at it, we're looking at 3 days, 3 to 4 days max from the purchase of the car to getting it on for customers to see. Of course, photos and stuff like that are done right away, but our goal is to get cars fast, get them cleaned up, and let's get them to market. Turn and burn used cars is the way to make a store great.
Shon, what are you seeing up in Wisconsin?
It's funny, the relevance of the time. I'm up in Green Bay today, and the variable director and myself drove up here this morning, and we were on the subject of one of our stores having a delay in the turn of used cars, where there's a roadblock, and we're eliminating the roadblock. And we were talking about purchasing cars versus curb buying versus trade-ins. A P car, as we call it, or as Tully says, the worst you can do is an auction right now. Guys, we're about $1,000 a copy. And I'm not trying to divulge any big internet secrets, but it's $1,000 a copy versus a trade-in is $3,000 a copy. That's the difference between going to the auction and buying a car and getting a trade-in. And the difference is you have a chance to look at the car. We know what the car is because, quite frankly, it's been through our shop, it's at our shop or whatever. Tully jumped on Service Drive, which I think Tully and I can both run 10-hour panels on the fact that we don't mind the service drives the way you could, guys. It's a perfect market. If you pay the advisors a spiff or whatever you do, you have a perfect source of it. But any tool or any avenue of knowing what the Recon's going to be, when you buy it at the auction, generally speaking, it's there for a reason. Where versus it's in the shop, sure, it's there for a reason, but we know what the cost of repair is. You know if it needs brakes. You know if it needs alignments. You know if it needs tires because we've already done the inspection. It's already halfway done. And by the way, if you trade it in, we can do the used car inspection at 0.5 days because when it comes down, it's ready to go to detail and go to pictures and go to front line ready.
AJ, you see a lot in the industry, and there's a lot of people listening that are used car managers and fixed ops directors. What advice and what are you seeing in the industry?
Yeah, I think these guys both hit it right on the head. And the thing that we really see happening, we're trying to accelerate is the convergence between those two things. That, it's really, if you can buy the car right, if you can get data into people's hands so that they're actually looking at those cars in context, to Shon's point, if you know what that car is really worth in your market, what you're going to be able to retail it for, and you know what it's going to take for you to recon it, and you've got great processes in place to accelerate your time to line and get it out there, then, it's half sold by the time it actually ends up on your website, right? And you know what your exit strategy is going to be. So we're continuing to see more and more convergence across the board between the service department and the sales department, people kind of locking arms and, working through it together to make sure that they're maximizing all of those vehicles that are rolling in their door every day, whether for trade-ins, whether for service. But, to Shon's point, a lot of times when they're at auction, they're there for a reason. So it's a necessary tool that, you need to be able to keep up with the volume. But we see people using tools to try to acquire in every possible channel as best as they possibly can.
Well, let me come back to everybody on the panel, and I'll start with AJ if I can. What do we need to make the situation better? This week, we're hearing a lot about AI. I'm sure towards the end of the week, folks will be hearing even more about it. AJ, what kind of tools do we need to improve the situation?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of across the board. So, with Autovision, we have deeply incorporated with DMS, with Recon Vision to try to accelerate that time to line, to get that data into everybody's hands, to make sure we have one sort of continuous process from, recon to merchandising to accounting and so on and so forth. The question of how do you actually price the cars, though, is a much more complex one. We've seen lots of tools, including Autovision, that have continued to provide finer and finer grained views over what the actual value of the vehicle is. And while that's great and super powerful and it's great to put in dealers' hands, what we've seen is, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, we looked at what's the velocity, what's my percent to market, and I kind of have a sense for where I'm going to be. Market's a lot more complicated now, and there are tens to hundreds of data points that are necessary to look at to say, realistically, for my dealership, what am I going to be able to retail this thing at? Where am I going to be able to get out so that if I know where I can get in and get it reconned, I know I'm in a good spot. So what we've been focused on at Autovision is training an AI. We're announcing that this week, called Avery, that is able to look at all of those hundreds and hundreds of data points in real time, like you would if you had the time, right? So if you're going to go manage your service drive and try to look at 50 or 60 cars a day and really drill into all of them, that's hugely tedious and time consuming. And so it either doesn't get done, or it can get glossed over, or it's a giant, cost center for folks in terms of having people doing all that manually. Avery is capable of looking at all of that retail market data, vehicle history, reconditioning info, all of those things, and coming back and saying, hey, here's a stocking score in terms of how good a fit we think this is for your dealership. Here's where we think that what you should pay for it, what you should price it at, and about how long we think it's going to take for you to sell. And so we see that, taking all of that legwork out as allowing dealers to really, leverage all of this data that they have access to, coming out of all of these different channels, and do something useful with it, do something that's immediately actionable.
Tully, there's a lot of talk in the industry about creating efficiencies. It sounds like Avery will be doing that. Tell us some of the things you told us in the green room, a couple of things you've done recently on the recon side.
But just think about what he just said. If I got 10 of the world's best used car managers in a room and I gave them one car to bid, and AJ knows this, they're all going to be a different price. And here's the thing, we rely on sales managers at all of our stores to give us a good price. They have their opinions, they have all these tools, but what happens is that they're all different. Think about what he just said, which is just unbelievable, is that we will have a constant price, and they're always going to be quoted at the same way, using the data, which is what we do. Because what happens when you're busy? Sales manager, yeah, okay, that car's 10 grand. That doesn't really work for us at a store, right? And I think that when you look at what he's trying to do for us is make the trade-in process and the buy center process be consistent and fact-based instead of a lot of emotion in it. And I'm telling you, that is a huge, huge deal. And I'm super excited to visit this at NADA. Now, when you look at a lot of things that we're doing to help with that, is that when we buy a car, if we overpay for it, what happens? Well, the used car manager is trying to negotiate with the service department, and then the friction starts to happen. And I think that when you buy the cars right, knowing what the car needs, there is no friction because you already know the cost of those cars. One of the first big things that we found out at the Needle Company, I've seen it many times before, is, well, Recon is taking away my gross profit. Well, I look at it differently. I believe that Recon is guaranteeing that we make a gross profit on used cars. And the way we've done it here at the Needle Company this year, we're super excited, is all of our used car managers now are paid on that used car Recon gross. So there is no loss of gross in that great used car. Because what is a used car? It's a great idea. It helps the fixed ops department, parts and service, and then it helps the variable drive, repeat, and referral business. It's a huge win. But I love hearing what he just said. Consistency on quoting is such a huge deal.
Shon, speak to us about the importance of that consistency.
Especially considering, guys, and I don't know what the right percentage is. I know they say 86% of everything we fix is repetitive. So if you're trading for a Chevy Impala or to Tully's point, a Land Rover, you know what's wrong with Land Rovers. You know what's wrong with Chevy Impalas. You know that Dodge Ram trucks have an intake manifold problem that, by the way, aren't available. And Ted, we've done a few panels together lately. Parts are an issue again, guys. Parts are becoming a very large issue. And if there's a tool for a used car manager to go, wait a minute, I'm going to bid this Dodge Ram truck, but it's got a recall that, by the way, doesn't have a part available for it. And by the way, no ETA on the part available for it. So all of a sudden, to Tully's point, the finger pointing, the scud missile throwing, whatever you want to call it, between used cars and services, well, the car's been out back for 65 days. Well, when you traded for it 66 days ago, you knew it had a recall that we don't have a fix for. And if we don't have a fix, there's nothing we can do. And, you know, again, any other recon tool that eliminates, and Tully and I are very aligned in the fact that you need some human element in the service department. But any tool that eliminates the human element of hiding, I'm going to say, a parts hold. Well, if I don't want to work on the car, I'll just put it on parts hold. And it sits out back and it doesn't count against me. And again, any tool that eliminates that so you can get a real number, because God forbid we all go back to lot walk like we used to do every day, and we touch the car so you can't make excuses about them anymore of why it's been sitting there for 16 days and why you took these other 10 cars first because they were easier and you didn't want to work on it. Any tool that does that, Ted, trust me, we're all in.
AJ, this is really exciting to hear Tully and Shon's perspectives. And I'm sure there's a lot of dealers listening today that are thinking about this and going, all right, AI, AI is still in this, kind of obscure, conversation in the industry. There's AI that, there's fear about it replacing people in the process. But actually, this is something that AI can really help dealers achieve a lot of these used car goals. Can you talk to us a little bit about how really Avery is helping in that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think there's two different things. One of them that I want to address is that I thought was interesting. You just said is this sort of fear of AI. I think that a really important distinction about what we've done here is we're not asking Avery, like the way that Avery operates, it's not generating some net new number that it just sort of pulls out of the ether in some way that nobody can understand. One of the really cool things about Avery is the approach that we took was to leverage the latest in sort of large language models and generative AI to say, let's actually train this to look at the data that's already there. Let's use this to automate those repetitive tasks that somebody has to go through and click and look at all of the data and try to discern for themselves where things are at. Let's just do that work for them. And then most importantly, Avery's capable of explaining itself. It will actually walk the dealer through and say, here's exactly why I put this number on this car. Here's some meaningful insights in the trending data. And those are all things that the dealer can go and fact check themselves. So, our approach has been to use the AI rather than trying to generate something net new, but to really make people's lives easier. And that makes them, it's not about eliminating the humans, it's about making them superhuman, right? Somebody that can go through and look at 60 or 100 cars a day now and get that, to Tully's point earlier, sort of consistent perspective. And it's really important to understand what AI is and it isn't as well, right? This is, somebody used the word opinion. And what's so interesting about this technology is it is just another opinion, right? Just like if you hired somebody onto your team, just, that person doesn't eat or sleep or take any breaks. All they do is just appraise cars all day. So, that's another thing is that humans definitely need to be in the loop. But what we've seen as we've tested this with dealers is that they use it in a variety of different ways. Some of them use it to fact check themselves or to fact check their employees. Like, hey, I just want a second opinion. Some of them use it to surface, areas of concern where it says, hey, reprice all my cars every day. Don't actually update my pricing, but show me anywhere where I'm plus or minus, more than a couple $100 in terms of my pricing. So those types of tasks then become just so much easier when you're using AI to accomplish them. And again, it's not about pulling people out of the loop. It's about letting them focus on the things that they're great at and not spend all their time clicking around and number crunching.
So AJ, if I may, just to kind of follow up on that, Avery will be released, I guess, at NADA. Is this all part of Autovision and underneath that Autovision umbrella?
That's right. Yeah. So Avery is part of Autovision and encompasses, we've talked a lot about sort of the Avery recommendations, but Shon said something a minute ago I'll touch on. Avery also will do things like surface meaningful insights about what potential recon. So when you pull up an appraisal, if you've got a green P out doing a trade appraisal, it'll pull up and say, hey, that 2019, Volkswagen had consistent wiring problems. make sure that you check and the windows go up and down. All of those types of insights that can be really helpful, especially when it's a car that's off-brand or that you don't deal with a lot, to try to catch that stuff as early in the process as possible.
Yeah. Tully, I would imagine it's difficult to know everything that every manufacturer and every single model has had. This would sound like an extremely valuable use of AI and a great tool.
It does, because when you think about the quoting process, when we look at a quoting process, there's two things that's happening. One is that we're over or under quoting the car to make a car deal. Big mistake. Used car managers spend probably half their day going through all the car deals and see if they got screwed somehow, and they're going to go there and fix it. Huge drama. This product will help eliminate those issues if we believe in it. Secondly, is when we look at cars, there's certain brands, like Shon said, this intake manifold is a huge deal. Oh my God, I got this truck. We're going to sell it in 3 days. No, you're going to sell it in 6 months when the part comes in. Then at that point we say, hey, maybe that truck is not for us, or we can take that truck at a much deeper discount and tell the customer, because that's probably the reason why they're trading it in the first place. So we want to make sure we have the right information, and the right information that AI can give us, right, with great data. Remember, AI is driven by data, is what is going to make this thing successful for us to make the right decisions, humans making right decisions, but with data-backed AI to help them make those right decisions.
Sarah, I'm curious, do you ever hear any of these used vehicle conversations in your household?
All day, every day is the answer to that question. And and it's amazing, what AJ is describing. There's a lot of pain points that used car managers, especially when you're looking at the volume of conversations that they potentially are having. You're talking the sales department, the sales consultants coming up and being like, how much is this trade worth? Then you're talking the auction. Then they're also managing the inventory pages. This is just such an amazing tool that really enables them to not only, meet their service customers and provide information or make some of those decisions. It's speeding up the efficiency in which the used car manager can really have their influence. So they can be more aware of, what vehicles are selling better in their inventory, what VDPs a customer is looking at on their website, and they can make those strategic decisions better. And so, Ted, this is absolutely a conversation that happens every single day in my household around thousands of different pieces of inventory. So I'm really excited to see more about Avery.
And Shon, to talk a little bit about parts, because you and Sarah and I discussed that very recently, to have the knowledge that parts not available or on back order, to have that available to you is invaluable.
Well, think how, like we said, you literally can have a truck sit out back now. Tully said 6 months. That's not unheard of. And that can't be real. No, it's a real thing. There is no fix for it. Grand Wagoneers right now, there's a transfer case problem with no ETA. And we have a transfer case problem. What do you tell that client? I'm going to take it one step further. And Sarah, I'm sure you hear how it's always fixed faults and used cars don't get through the shop. Tully made a comment that a used car manager spends half their day wondering how they got screwed on the cars they traded for. Well, they spend the other half of the day, because unfortunately, like Sarah's husband does, he does acquisitions. Think about, because again, I did the GM thing for 3 years, the used car manager going through the auction list. Because listen, if you're going to sell 150 cars, you need 125 on the lot. If you're not going to trade for 125, you're going to have to purchase them. All right. Imagine the time you save going through an auction list instead of looking at every car, looking it up in vAuto or whatever tool you're using, trying to find out what they're going to sell for. And you have a tool that you could go down the list and go, and here's what they should sell for. And in advance. And again, I'm not trying to I haven't seen Avery, obviously. I'm not trying to put the cart in front of the horse. But how quick does it make it to know that here's the 400 cars going through the chute in the morning. Here's what they should go for. I can go put my proxy bid on 400 cars and know I'm safe by what it's telling me. Or by the way, to the point, the manifolds, I don't want these 12 because I can't fix these 12. I'm going to tow them and they're going to sit.
AJ, pretty accurate?
Yeah, I mean, seconds per vehicle is the answer, Shon. So as you're popping it up, it's going to pull up just like it's going to pull up a book. You say, hey, I'm looking at this car. Okay, I want to ask Avery. And Avery takes, 2 to 3 seconds typically to come back and tell you, these are my recommendations. This is what I think.
And AJ, a follow-up, if I may, there's dealerships that have been using Avery and I know we're getting the opportunity to see this firsthand here at the end of this week, but there's dealerships that today are using Avery and having success. So can you share a little bit about, what strategies have they been using and what has been, really influential, for their customers in their market?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of different profiles when people start using it, right? A lot depends on what their comfort level is with AI going into it. You've got folks that are very gung-ho and are, hey, I want to put this on everything and I'm going to start using that number for everything. We have to have a conversation with them about like, hey, this is another opinion and this is another view of the data and it's going to help your people. And when they start using it, what they learn very, very quickly, what we've learned with them, I should say, is what that does is it levels everybody up. Yeah, because the people that they had that maybe weren't as strong at looking at the data and doing an appraisal, all of a sudden have an expert coach every time they're running an appraisal telling them, here's a data-driven analysis and here's the approach that I took to get to this number. And it immediately starts to raise everybody's game from that standpoint where they're really all starting to speak the same language. We've got folks that are very skeptical, and those folks, before they get to this step, the first thing that they'll do is they'll say, "Hey, I'm going to use my people to fact check the AI. So we'll try it out, and we'll see what my people do, and we'll see how the AI comes." And within about 14 days, it's every time, and it's without fail. When I talk to them, I'm using the AI to fact check my people, and then a couple of weeks after that, it's wow, my people have really embraced this and now they're on, kind of that same path. So people come to it differently. It's new technology. It's not something that, even outside of automotive, this stuff is so new and it's so new in our daily lives and the tools that we use. Everybody comes to it a little bit differently, but, we think we have a real winner on our hands on something that just helps people to do their jobs better, makes their lives easier, makes things more consistent, more understandable and more relatable, which is not often the case with technology, and especially not with AI, where it can seem like, this sort of black box that nobody really understands. We think with Avery, it's truly something that starts to feel like an extension of your team very, very quickly.
So AJ, Avery and Autovision are part of the Reynolds and Reynolds family. Okay. We had a chance recently to visit with Reynolds and Reynolds in Dayton and see the Innovation Center. Reynolds is making massive investments on all new kinds of technology. Are there dealers now using this process, Avery, in their dealerships effectively?
There are, yeah. We've been running with a number of pilot customers, small, large, group, non-group, cross country for the last 4 or 5 months, and using that to refine it. One of the things that's interesting about AI like this is, unlike a lot of typical software, there's not a right or wrong answer, right? It's more like you're interviewing somebody for a job. And so, we've had a lot of folks that have been helping us with making sure that, those opinions that are coming out are rational and make sense. And the dealers have a lot of control now, as opposed to when we started testing, over the parameters that they can use as well to say, here's my hard turn policy. This is how I think about profitability. Essentially giving them the levers to train Avery to be the best possible AI for them, rather than for it to have, some abstract opinion. So, yes, we've had people out there using it in the wild, and it's been, pretty much glowing praise. And we've been testing it, tuning it, tweaking it, and we think we're at a point that we're going to take it out. It's ready for prime time.
Sarah, you and I've had a number of questions for AJ. I'm wondering if Tully and or Shon have a follow-up question from the fixed operations retail perspective, Tully and Shon, that you would like to ask AJ while we're here together.
So one thing I look at is that it's part of the Reynolds family, but some of us are not on the Reynolds platform. How will it integrate with other DMSs? Because, this technology sounds so exciting.
Yes.
So the big delta is if you're not on Reynolds CMS, then Avery has a little less data to work with. We don't understand your detailed profitability analysis for how you've performed on vehicles like whatever one you're looking at in the past. What your real, the details of your sales transactions. So that's super important. We think it brings a lot of value, but it is one piece of the puzzle. Avery's looking at retail data, wholesale data, vehicle history reports, and all of these other factors when it's making its decisions. So that's really sort of the missing piece if you're coming in from another DMS and all we see is your inventory feed.
Now with technology, what we have with data sets with our own data, which we pull out of our DMS legally, so is that something that you'll be able to, like if I gave you all of our logs for the last 3 years and give you an API in that, are you talking about maybe integrating a different way for data versus, now data today is, so much better and easier to get access to?
Yeah, I think, right now for the initial launch, we're really focused on, keeping that piece of the puzzle with the Round CMS. That's kind of where we have that data set. I won't rule anything out over the course of time, but in terms of how it's built right now, that's where that data comes from.
So Tully, you're gonna have to sign up with Reynolds and Reynolds. They're gonna get you at some point here. Shon,
I tell you, if you catch my office managers or my controller at the right time, it would be absolutely yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think it's ironic that I have the exact same question Tully did. That was even my next question: is this tool integratable to any other DMS? But I'll take it a step further, back to one of the first things I said, and really it does feed off what Tully was talking about. The very first question you're talking about service drive acquisitions. Is there a way to take this tool in a non-Reynolds DMS, and ping the used car managers, hey, right now, Shon and Tully have this vehicle on the service drive, which, by the way, fits your parameters. You could sell this car in 3 days per average, and what you have in a lot, you need to go do a service walk trade and take the human element out, because nobody likes to sit their butt on the service drive, obviously, and I can't figure out why. No matter what scheduling system you're using and no matter what OEM you're on, what vehicles are coming in 10 to 14 days in advance, guys. You can work that service drive, but it would be really cool to have a tool that says, hey, you have a Jeep Compass or you have a Ford Taurus on the service drive that is this vehicle. It's in your proximity. It's in your parameters. That's going to sell if you can acquire it today. I think that would be a next step, a great tool for a used car guy, and say, hey, I need to go see Mr. Smith. I need to acquire that car.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the great things about Autovision in general is that it's very inclusive for bringing all kinds of different employees across the dealership into the process. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be a used car manager. And so somebody that is, especially with Avery, they don't have to be as conversant in, looking at how to, price out a car and all the other things that were sort of typical of inventory management tools in the past. So you can absolutely, plug in vehicles that are on your service drive, have it take a look at that, see if it's something that would be valuable, and pop that back over to whoever inside of your organization, and they can then take a look at that. They could print out an appraisal. They can do whatever process you want to run. It's very capable of doing that. And through Autovision Wingman, we actually integrate with a lot of different tools as well, where kind of pop up alongside. So for instance, if you're using the Focus CRM, which is also a Reynolds tool, then in your sort of service drive, you can just sort of click into them as you go, and it'll just pop up immediately as if it was one piece of software. Just like with Recon Vision, when you're looking at stuff that's in Recon, you have access to all of the Autovision data right there at your fingertips when you're thinking about making an adjustment, or whether or not you actually want to do an RO, or maybe you want to kick that thing back out to wholesale. And one of the cool things that Avery does is it will actually tell you if it thinks your best option is to wholesale based on all of the available data. It's not scared to do that. It'll tell you your retail market doesn't work for this. With the cost that you're at, what we're seeing in wholesale, you should probably just turn around and flip this thing. Now, you make your own decision, right? It's just another opinion, but to the point that you made earlier, Tully, about taking emotion out of the process, it can be very effective for making people, stop and take a beat and say, are we really going to be able to retail this car? Or does it just feel like we're going to be able to?
So AJ, where can we get a demo, and when?
Yeah, come see us this week at the booth. We've got a big booth right in front of Reynolds and Reynolds for Autovision, Recon Vision. We can walk you through the whole process, how we make it work end to end. And very, very excited to have people come meet Avery and see how it starts to tie all of this together.
All right. And also on the web, for those who may not be there, I see below it says autovision.com. Is that the best place?
Yep, that's a great place to go.
All right. AJ McGowan, congratulations. Look forward to big things, and off to a superstar for 2025. So congratulations to you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for everybody's time today.
Yeah. Sarah, this was a very informative panel.
I learned a lot, and AJ, I'm really excited to continue to hear how this is going to help dealers really maximize the merchandising that they're doing, and then also the acquisitions that they're doing.
Great. On behalf of the Roundtable, I want to thank Shon Kingrey from Kaiser Automotive Group in Balmy, Madison, Wisconsin, and Tully Williams from the Nilo Company out in Sacramento. Tully and Shon, thank you for your perspective. Amazing as always, and great questions you've asked.
Thank you.
AJ McGowan, and thank you for all you do for the industry as well. Sarah, I'm excited, and everybody, to learn more about Avery, you can visit autovision.com or come see them this week at NADA in New Orleans, and they'll be right up front at the Reynolds and Reynolds booth. Avery here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Cool.
Hey Vince, sorry to keep you waiting.
Not a problem, Tim. How you
believe
doing?
how busy our
I know,
shop
man.
is today?
I know.
It's amazing how much
great.
business.
What Tim doesn't realize is that his service department could be a lot more efficient. For example, Frank tossed away some technician recommendations because he thinks they're too costly. And look at Mike. He just upset this customer by misquoting repairs. Even his lead advisor let this customer leave without recording any recommended or declined services. On top of all that, I see data reentry and techs leaving their base. I can help Tim stop losing money with better processes. Tim, I've got a lot of great ideas I want to share with you. Let's go to your office and talk about those.
Come on in.
Perfect.
When I first started here as a service advisor, our process for upsells was pretty much old school. The work order was written up, the technician would do the report. Our multi-point inspection was still carbon copies. When the technician had recommendations, they wrote it on the back of the hard copy. The parts departments would do a parts request for the technician. The technician then would walk over to the advisor and let the advisor know if parts are available. Everything was handwritten, not much of a process. Advanced Service has built communication with technician, advisor, and parts, and it's actually made our departments work better together. Advanced Service has had a huge impact on our hours per RO. In February, we were averaging about 1.5 to 1.6. From April to December of last year, we averaged about 2.5 hours per RO. We have taken over 300 or 400 more ROs per month. Our gross per RO has increased to over $200. So we can definitely tell the Advanced Service is working for our store. I really feel that Advanced Service is the best tool you can use to make sure your shop is efficient. If you're struggling with people walking around the shop, the technician hanging out in the parts department, the advisor not at their desk, phones not being answered, Advanced Service will eliminate those issues you're having. If you're trying to find something that's going to help your shop be more efficient, it's Advanced Service.
We're cruising into our next segment with Dennis McGinn and Josh DeYoung from Rapid Recon.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Our great friends from Rapid Recon are with us. Dennis McGinn, the founder, Josh DeYoung. Happy New Year, gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. Happy New Year to you and your whole great team.
Happy New Year,
Josh.
Ted. Thanks for having us back.
Josh, so many great things happening with Rapid Recon at the dealership level, and we're hearing, a lot of success stories. I've mentioned that before organically, but it continues to happen. And I'm excited, Dennis, on this session today, because I know we're going to talk about some new opportunities. And I think you entitled it, somebody did, Scan Baby Scan. Okay, I think that's part of it.
Yes, that came off a campaign that had to do with oil, but it applies better to scanning.
Okay. Yes. Well, let's talk about that. And, why dealerships up until now, maybe had some difficulty focusing on 100% OBD2 scanning, and, what's some of the solutions. And I know you're going to give us some action steps today and, give us some pretty cool takeaways for our audience as well.
Yeah. So let me just start with a little story that is fairly fresh in my mind. So I was in Idaho recently. I married an Idaho girl, so we have a place up there to go hide out. But this is a guy I've known for quite a while. He and I fished together in Alaska, and he's not a car guy particularly, but he is sharp, very sharp. And he told me this out of the blue, and he knows a little bit about what we do. But he said, "Hey, Dennis, I'm going to tell you about this process I went through just recently. We bought a car for our grandson," and he said, I went to 3 different dealers, but he said this was a used car. He wanted something about 30 grand, 25, 30 grand, and so it was kind of right in our sweet spot. But he was smart enough to ask to see the ODB2 scan, okay, at each dealership. And the first one he went to, they said, "Oh, well, to get this car where it needs to be, it's going to be another $6,000." And he went to the second dealership, and that one was $11,000, asking the same question. And finally, he went out and bought a Kingrey with 40,000 miles on it, and it was clean as a whistle. But the lesson was, to me, I think, why would not everybody do this? Most people know about it. A lot of them use it to try and reset things, so their car looks like it's totally clean when it's not. And I thought, okay, so what would I say to the industry on this point when we're trying to encourage this as the behavior, just to do appraisals away at the beginning? So there's no surprises. And it's a fair thing to do for both you and the customer, especially if it's a trade and you're trying to make them a fair offer. But if it's made on facts that you can show them the sheet, here's where it's coming from. This is why we're offering you this amount of money. And anybody else that does the same thing is going to come to the same conclusion. So you don't need to waste any more of your time looking for answers. So this is, I think, we found something that is not just going to be a way to avoid ugly surprises, but I think it's going to be a major sales tool within the dealership. Because if all used car buyers are going to ask for this information, right, then it kind of says, well, this isn't just another thing to do to evaluate a trade. This is something to get excited about, because everybody, you're helping your customer get ahead of the game now, and not in a way where they're gaming you, but you're helping them.
Josh, this is so true. The consumer knows about tools like OBD2, and great example that Dennis just gave. The consumers out there using them for all different reasons, but they're aware of it very much.
Oh, I mean, you can go on Amazon and buy one today, right, for your own use. And so, they're educated, usually not in the favor of the dealer, because they're clearing codes, before they get to the dealership or trade it in. I remember having an old Ford Ranger, and I started it one time and I didn't think it was going to start again. And I drove it to the dealership and sold it and never turned it off. So it's one of those things where, and that was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But, I think, customers are a lot smarter than we lead them on to be. And, why not get ahead of it and be a little bit more transparent up front by having this information, readily available. I think it speaks volumes when you don't have to ask for it as a consumer and it's offered, right? I think there's a way to present the information the right way without being asked, and that builds trust. And once you build someone's trust, they decide to want to do business with you. So,
Dennis, on the dealership side, who uses the OBD2? Whose hands should that be in?
Well, every dealer is going to have a different idea because they all have different ideas about controlling the deal. And a lot of them have said, "Oh, I don't really want to do that because I'll know something I don't want to have to talk about to the dealer." So they're uncomfortable because if they see some bad things, they don't know what to do. But my feeling is that it could be done by a junior salesperson. Would be a perfect role for a junior salesperson who are not behind the desk because they're not a manager. And it doesn't require any training. It just plug it in and watch the lights blink a few times and you see it go on your phone. It goes right into Rapid Recon. Boom, it's right there. So then as the used car manager is making a decision on should I buy this car or whatnot, they have everything there in front of him. So I think it's the responsibility of the used car manager because they're the ones that are going to get hurt the most or benefit the most by doing it right. I think it's their job to make sure it gets done. I think I would choose one or two of the junior people, one and a backup, and let them have at it. But it's a sales tool, guy. Let me go through this, how you interact with, say, a customer with a trade. Gee, Mr. Customer, here's this way I can scan the car, and then we both know exactly what's going on, and we can make you a fair offer. Is that a good idea? And we give you a piece of paper that shows you what was on there. So that's where I'm going with my 3 cents. And, Josh and I've gone around about this a little bit, but I think we're kind of on the same page. The missing piece of getting everybody to do this is what's the motivation? What's the behavior? And if it's a sales tool, because if your customer is going to trust you, they're going to tell their friends, right? Everybody has friends that buy cars. And if it's Josh, I had this great experience because they scanned the car for me. I could see everything that's going on. And everybody that's buying a used car can do this too.
Josh, it doesn't take long, Josh. Why would they skip that step? It sounds like it's one of the key steps that you should be doing, especially with Rapid Recon, if that's the app you've got on your phone, which many dealers do.
I think it all comes down to process, right? I mean, at the end of the day, software is only as good as the people that are going to use it. And when you put a process like this in place, the only way it's not going to work is if it doesn't get plugged in. And so accountability and a process of appraising a vehicle the right way and making sure that the dealership is really bought into that process is why a lot of them don't want to do it. It's not the cost, right? Cost is probably the least amount of the worries. It's, do I have said person to do that process? And, we have a unique ability to track that information because we do have a recon solution, right? And what I mean by that is we have all the inventory that the dealer has today because it's going through the reconditioning process. So we can then say, you have 5 cars that you appraised and bought yesterday. And I can tell you that of the 5 cars that you appraised and purchased yesterday, do they have a scan? Right? A lot of dealers can't get that information with other scan technology. And it helps us from an accountability standpoint, because I know who appraised the car because I'm getting that information from the inventory management system. I now know that it's been scanned. So it's just getting them in that process of knowing, and having that accountability in a lot of ways. But that's what it comes down to is the process going to be easy, and are my people are going to use it? And I think when you have that accountability piece, it really presses dealers to then want to use something like that because we can hold them accountable, or they can hold their own people accountable.
Josh, as a follow-up, can I ask, is this part of Rapid VinSight and being able to leverage that on the part of the dealer?
Absolutely. And it goes further than that. I think we start this process at appraisal, but imagine if you were going to buy a used car, right? And you don't have a trade-in, and you see that report of when that car was initially traded, and then they see the clean report because we're actually scanning it after the cars went through the recon process, and we can actually show a before and an after. How more transparent can you be, right? Hey, it had a catalytic converter code when it was traded, 45 days ago. We actually took care of it, and here's a report after. So here's your clean bill of health from a sales perspective.
And Dennis, this eliminates, if you will, many of the, if not all of the blind spots in appraisals, and it's easy to understand. And like Josh said, anybody, you can access it and you know who did the appraisal and when.
This is such an important point because with every trade, for instance, you're trying to build a lifetime customer relationship when you have that opportunity. And they all expected they're going to get lowballed on the trade. It's just a natural thing, right? And they even think they have a right to basically take some of these codes and make them go away because they think they're counterbalancing that whole thing. But that's a great thing to go forward with a customer, with a trade, is to say, we want to make you a fair offer. Can I scan your car? Hold this little thing up that looks pretty innocent, and is so easy to use. And you got a bingo right there where the customer says, "Oh, okay, yeah, that I want to have a fair offer too." And you're going to be able to prove it to me? Yes, I'm going to show you the facts. And what are they going to do? I mean, I know the people that I call when I want to buy a car, the same ones, the people I trust. So I think this is a big deal, and I think it applies to every dealership. I think it applies to all the groups. I mean, we're in all the big groups too, and that's what they want. They want the customers to come back to them wherever they are.
And Dennis, if I can, I'm thinking of those post-sale repairs that eat into the profits that come in a little bit later. Okay. Right after we make, after it seems like we've made the sale, but this takes the swag, if you will, out, the guessing game, and gives us a more precise field to play on.
It certainly does. I think it changes the whole field, and it isn't going to be long. And I really believe this, that just like my little story, I think everybody is going to do this. They're going to go and buy a used car at any level because they want to know what's going on. And they even want to trust you to ask, well, what do you think? What else could go wrong with this? And the dealer's in the position of being able to sell additional product to these folks for extended warranties and things. And so it's an opportunity for them too.
Okay. So for 2025, one of the first takeaways, if you will, I'll put in is the scan baby scan. Okay. Scan every vehicle every time. Put your process in place, Josh. Determine who's going to do that. Get an accurate appraisal, improve the customer trust, and reduce your costs and most likely your margins as well. Would that be fair to say that's top on the list for 2025? Okay. All right. Dennis, what's next?
Okay.
Action steps. Let's talk about things that our audience can do in 2025. We've realized now thanks to you and Rapid Recon and Josh, we've realized how important reconditioning is as part of what we do every day at the dealership.
Yes. And I'm going to step back and then forward again a little bit. So, I mean, looking at this, the dealer's challenges, it's profit per vehicle. That's what it's about. and improving that, continuously making sure you're doing it right. Well, the first thing is going to be making sure that cars you're going to buy or take on trade, you know exactly what you're getting into. Fixed ops has the same opportunity. I mean, they want to know what they need to prepare for if they're supporting reconditioning, and on cars on customer pay, they're probably going to, if they think there's a problem, they're going to scan it anyway. So I think the things that you prepare for are the 100% implementation. And we've had a few groups that have jumped into this just because it made so much sense to them. They just started doing it, right? And now it's locked, right? It's just like looking at the tires and seeing what the tread is and scanning the car. So you need to train the appraisal staff, okay? Who in a typical dealer, you're going to have a few people that do the appraisals, and you're going to show them how easy this is to do, and you don't need to go there to do that. They need to have a unit in their hand that says, okay, we're equipped to do this, and then you want to integrate it into your reconditioning process, okay, so that you expect all that information from the scan there to make the decisions, make sure the parts are there. In time, you're going to buy that car. You want to make sure you know you can get the car up to snuff, and you want to always go back and look at the results of this. And we've got reports that help the dealer to kind of look across at all the scans and see how this is working for them. So those are the things that I think are actionable. And Josh, you want to have any thoughts here?
Yeah, Dennis, I think that the thing that always excites me, and it's like beating a dead horse, but integration, right? I mean, again, software is only as good as the people that are going to use it. And, we've got some really exciting things that are happening this year that I think dealers really need to open their minds to. Because duplication is always things that we always hear about, and it's an excuse in a lot of ways, but sometimes it's a good reason. Because it does, slow down, users. And so we've listened, and there's some really cool things. I won't let the cat out of the bag, but there's some really cool things that I think a lot of dealers need to listen to, because it's really going to change the game. So, out of your action steps, I think integration into a process and integration period is the most important and paramount.
And do you see that very often on the dealership side? They need help on process, which might be one of the reasons, I guess, why they're coming to Rapid Recon in the first place.
Yeah, I think that, they're scared, when change is not fun in a lot of ways. And when you're trying to make money and you have a technician that's on flat rate most of the time, and, you start to incorporate or move that cheese, it's scary. But we've done it. We've done it thousands and thousands and thousands of times when you look at how many users we have on the platform. And so we get it. We know what's coming. And a lot of times we're prepared for it. And, you got to trust us. And that's what makes us the expert. You want to do business with people that have done it before and have been down that road, and we have. And so, I think it's very alarming for some dealers to move that cheese, but we're here and we're partners.
Very well said. Dennis, help us out. Give us a few more. What's another action step that our dealers watching can take here today in 2025?
Yeah. If I were a dealer or a group, I mean, we deal with groups really well. We've got the right reporting structure and the right way to coach them. I would immediately go into a 100% scanning, no exceptions. Okay. Nobody plays games if you do that. And so everything's visible, everything's transparent, and make it a sales tool. Make it an action with your customer to make trust you, because you're showing them everything, you're being transparent, and that everybody, all their friends that they want to talk to about this, have them bring their car by and we'll scan their car too. I mean, that's what I would do. And so you've got to train the staff how to do this. They're all going to be a little, just because of history, because they haven't been able to just do this willy-nilly. They need to go through and show them how easy it is, because that's it. You can even send it to them and let them coach them as they're doing it. And the integration of the scanning process into reconditioning, it is the step that if you're going to appraise a car, you need to have the scan. Okay, how could you appraise a car without a scan when all that mechanical diagnostic stuff hasn't been done? I mean, you don't want to do it. And then the fourth step is analyze. Take a look at what you're doing. I'm a process improvement guy. I go way back, and I've done this a lot in the auto industry and in technology. And you want to continuously improve the processes, and you do that with information, with data. And so make that part of your culture, and you can't go wrong there.
And Dennis, you alluded to that there are a number of groups, medium-sized and large groups, that use the tools of Rapid Recon. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? Because I think it's very conducive, whether you're a single point store or have multiple rooftops, to be able to navigate your way through this reconditioning using a tool like Rapid Recon.
Oh, yes. I've spent a lot of time with the large groups. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that we are doing today came about with working with Penske. Because they're very process oriented too, and they're very smart. They're very sharp operators. But I think consistency and being able to have the stores compare their results with other stores, like within a group, makes a lot of sense. Especially when you've got somebody over those groups at some level, whether it's a region or whether it's a division or something like that. That gives that person that's overseeing that a way to compare the actual efficiencies and the productivity and the processes between stores. So we've done a lot of that, and we brought that in, and that's what the metrics we use, which are T2L, time to line, and the time to line, and the ADR, the average days in Recon. So those are the things that we put out there that came from the groups and are the most valuable to the group level people.
All right. So Josh, here's some of the takeaways I took away. See if you agree. Scanning every vehicle, it ensures a predictable process. The appraisals, profitability, profit per vehicle, PPV. Okay. Using tools like Rapid's VinSight transforms the appraisals from guesswork into real data-driven decisions, and start the year strong with better processes to maximize all these tools. And it's going to increase customer satisfaction, Josh.
You hit the nail on the head. You had them all right and in order. So yeah, absolutely. I think 2025 is going to be, fabulous.
It's going to be a great year. Josh, will you folks be out at NADA in New Orleans this week?
We absolutely will. Booth 835, if you want to come see us. I know myself will be there. I'm sure Dennis will make an appearance. Come see us both. We'd love to have a conversation.
All right. Exciting. And congratulations to both of you. And Dennis, did you ever think it would be this big, the Rapid Recon and the reconditioning?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I went in 1990 in response to a dealer in the Bay Area who said, we have this problem, and nobody's accountable for the time it's taking to recondition cars. It's a joke. And so I went after to solve a problem, and we did it really well. We had a good group of people that developed the software and evolved it and that kind of thing. And I had no idea, but it turned out that was validated the premise, which is that everybody was making numbers up. Well, that didn't make any sense. I mean, Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard were my role models, and I said, this can't happen this way. It just doesn't work. So that's where we came from. And yes, so today we're the gold standard in this industry, but we're still just getting started. I mean, if you look at the big picture, there's a lot that can be done across the dealership in both fixed and variable to help them improve their profit per vehicle at the same time to make it easier for their people to do their jobs. So it's good for everybody.
I'll remind our audience, reach out to Rapid Recon, rapidrecon.com. Dennis McGinn, founder, Josh DeYoung, both with us here today and doing a great job in our industry. And if you're at NADA end of the week, NADA booth 835. Otherwise, they're very accessible online and on social media. So, gentlemen, on behalf of the Roundtable, thank you for all you do for the industry at Rapid Recon.
Thank you, Ted.
Ted, and thank you for all the work you do for this industry, which is, I think, very significant. The amount of people you touch is fabulous, and the message you bring the industry, I think, are really important.
Oh, well, thank you. Very grateful to you, Dennis, and to Josh. Everybody, Rapid Recon here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Everybody wants to be part of a bigger story. And to see something like this in such a big industry is a big accomplishment.
When I heard about Rapid Recon, I was like, man, that's ahead of its time.
Rapid Recon is the one software that unifies all the departments. You're going to go from chaos to organization.
The whole idea is to take 15 days average to get these cars ready to sell and take it down to 3 to 5.
It's live. You can log into Rapid Recon and see exactly where you are.
We're processing 2,500 cars a month. You need technology to make it more profitable.
And we know the pains that dealers are going through because we've lived it.
We get so much praise for our customer service, and it's because we genuinely care.
If you want to be as efficient as you possibly can, you absolutely should have Rapid Recon as your system.
We're changing this industry in a way that it's needed to change for a long time.
Psst, I heard Paul Bunyan's a guest speaker. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable Route 66 road trip event.
Make sure your vehicle has everything it needs to hit the road with the parts panel up next. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Vanessa Collins, joined by Katrina Ness, and this is a very exciting panel because it is all about parts. So if you will, starting with Mike, and right down the line, introduce yourself and what you do.
Thanks for having us. My name's Mike King. I am with Revolution Parts. We're a SaaS company that supplies online platforms for dealers to sell parts online.
Hi, my name's Terry. I've been with Bozard for 5 years, and I'm part of the BTI team. I'm in the parts department.
And my name is Jason Davis. I am with the mobile services parts coordinator.
Wonderful. So Terry and Jason, what role does collaboration and teamwork play in the efficiency of the parts operation, specifically at Bozard Ford Lincoln?
I would say teamwork is huge, especially here at Bozard. We're on a very large campus. We've got 4 buildings, adding a 5th one here soon. And out of those buildings, 3 of them contain a parts warehouse. So every day we have multiple deliveries throughout the day, stock orders, special ordered parts. And it takes a lot of teamwork for everybody to check all of that stuff in and distribute it to the proper warehouse of where that part needs to go. And there's a lot of moving pieces that make that happen, and that's a lot of the collaboration between all of us in parts departments.
Yeah, so a lot of teamwork, organization, and especially communication.
Yes.
Communication's everything in parts.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that, Terry.
Without communication, we have jobs that go from building to building.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs will end up starting in Quick Lane or Ford, end up in our Lincoln building, and they might even end up in my area in the tech development program. So it's key to have all the information there from each counter.
Yeah. So again, for Terry and Jason, how have new initiatives like Bozard Built, Mobile Service, and Bozard Technical Institute affected the parts department here at Bozard Ford Lincoln?
For us, a lot of it's staffing. It's finding the people willing and to do something new. Because beforehand, we haven't really done a night crew to this degree.
Yeah.
So I volunteered for it in the aspect of I have 2 years tech experience. So helping the techs understand the more nuanced, smaller things with our software is key, and having someone willing to teach them and understanding parts and a tech.
Yeah, and really quick, could you speak more to being the parts guy for BTI?
So it's a very interesting and rewarding aspect in the fact that you're not handing out the number of parts I did when I was on our day team. I'm not handing out engines. I'm handing out a lot of oil filters. But it's showing the guys, hey, this is how this software works, or this is helping. Actually, I've gone out there a couple times like, hey, they're having an issue installing a part. Hey, let me help you do this real quick.
Yeah. And Jason, do you have anything to add on how those new initiatives like Bozard Built, mobile service have affected the parts department?
Well, obviously it's affected part sales, which is a good thing for everybody. The Bozard Built branding is our own personal branding of vehicles, which gets our name out there. Customizing trucks, supercharging Mustangs, whatever it might be. So that's a pretty cool thing. It does definitely make a difference when you see your brand out there in public and people are starting to recognize it, and they're coming to us for those modifications to the vehicles. So that's been a big help.
So Jason, you are known as the projects guy here in a sense at Bozard Ford Lincoln. So what is it like, and what are some challenges and obstacles or pain points, so to say, that you can face when, bringing these new projects alive, like Bozard Built or the mobile service or any of those?
Yeah, they all present their own challenges.
Yeah.
Mobile truck services is one that I'm really heavily focused on right now. It's something that's not many dealerships have either done or are willing to try, especially at the scale that we're doing. So some of the difficulties of that is just trying to learn something new. We have a lot of these technicians that are coming in, and we're trying to organize the parts with the logistics of their routes and who's going where and what time they need these parts by. So I'd say that's one of the challenges that we're working with now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a completely, fair point that you made. There's no guideline to follow when you're bringing in something new, like Ford Mobile Service. You can't, there's no path. You have to create your own and figure it out. And sometimes that does come with mistakes and pain points that you need to overcome.
Absolutely.
Terry, what about you? What about, your experience with Bozard Technical Institute and working and with the parts for them and getting parts to them? Have you had any challenges with that?
The main challenge we run into is not so much getting parts, but it's getting parts, because after 5 o'clock, it's a minimum 2-day turnaround.
Okay.
So it's having techs and the advisors helping customers understand that it's, yes, you do get in sooner, but it might take an extra couple days to get your parts.
Yeah.
And that's really the only pain point for nights.
And Mike from Revolution Parts, I want to come over to you really quick because a majority of your career has been, surrounded by e-commerce and parts. So how do you think e-commerce could be kind of folded into their strategy here at Bozard Ford Lincoln?
Well, I mean, they're already doing so many great things in the parts room. And, I'm a self-admitted parts geek. I don't think parts rooms get the acknowledgement that they do. But weaving in e-commerce is just another lane of revenue. It's, it's not bleeding your wholesale business away. It's not taken from your service drive. It's actually opening up avenues to customers that are outside of your marketplace that you would never meet, you would never see it. And, the opportunities are there because there's people, in rural places around the country that don't have a local Ford dealer or don't have a good local Ford dealer that are looking for some place to source their parts. And e-commerce is the perfect platform for a place like Bozard, where perfection in excellence is just, that's how you live.
Yeah.
So I could see it being a big success here.
So Terry and Jason, how do you guys take e-commerce and use that in the parts department to your, your day-to-day roles?
With e-commerce, obviously that's the way of the future. I mean, there's so many people that like to order whatever it might be from Amazon, for example. How many of us that sit here and we'll order right off of our couch at home? Well, customers can do that. They can order their parts from the comfort of their own home, and they can have them shipped straight to the house. They never have to even touch the dealership. That's one aspect of it. The other one that I find helpful with parts is getting rid of some idle inventory. So maybe inventory that's been sitting on a shelf for an extended amount of time, we could put it out there and it a lot more eyes on it when it's online. So people might be looking for that specialty part that they need, and you've got it sitting on the shelf and need to get rid of it.
Like it's become stagnant in your market,
Correct.
but it's desirable elsewhere.
Correct. Yep.
But we have an awesome tool for that allows you to set the month's no sale parameters and push it directly up to eBay with its own pricing strategies. It's just a really easy way to do that.
Yes, and convenience is key, especially in this day and age. And with all the parts that you see in the back of a parts department, convenience comes with ease. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's December now, going into 2025. So my next question is there anything that you see over the horizon for the parts department in the future, more specifically in 2025 at Bozard Ford Lincoln?
I'll leave that one up to the project guy.
Once again, one of my biggest focuses right now, and I think dealership wide is really the mobile services. We're really trying to grow that. It's helpful because it does alleviate some of the congestion in the shop. So we can go out and service people's vehicles, do the smaller recalls on site at their home, which frees up some of the technicians here at the shop to handle the larger jobs. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for joining us and giving us this very informational panel about parts and e-commerce and the way that they work together and they work here at Bozard Ford Lincoln. And thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Make sure to stay online because we have a lot more coming to you later.
Department, and we are excited to highlight some of the best in automotive. Join us live in New Orleans at the NADA Expo, where Revolution Parts is proud to host the prestigious Online Parts Excellence Awards, honoring the nation's top online parts sellers. This ceremony will be taking place Friday, January 24th at NADA and will be hosted by me, Sarah Vantine of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. During the event, we will unveil the winners in several categories, including top overall sales, top eBay sales, top Amazon sales, Parts Excellence Award, Rookie of the Year, Influencer of the Year, and the top sales in each brand category. Be sure to join us at booth 7451 to help us celebrate the excellence in the parts industry. See you all there.
Blink and you may miss it. Our next panel is with Dave Perry and Ashleigh Norton from Blink AI.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What a great honor to have Ron Overs with us today here at the Roundtable. Ron and I see so much. Ron is the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine. And Ron, you and I get to welcome a new member to the community today.
This is great, Ted. I think we're calling it the year AI transformed fixed operations, and what a great group here to have Dave Perry and Ashleigh Norton to tell us about their great company.
Yep, we want to welcome Blink AI. Ashleigh is known to the Roundtable community. Dave, first time on the Roundtable. Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ted and Ron. It's great to be here. Certainly well aware of what the Fixed Ops Roundtable means to dealerships in general, but specifically to the Fixed Ops arena, and we're really excited to be a part of it this next year.
Well, Dave, congratulations to you, and again to Ashleigh as well. Tell us a little more, if you don't mind, for our audience. Tell us about Blink AI and its mission.
Yeah, sure. Sure, Ted. Blink AI, I mean, we're obviously an AI company, but we're singularly focused on customer engagement across a dealership. We have that focused on fixed ops because we see that where many problems that we address kind of reside, but we're not restricted to the fixed ops arena. We're working really ultimately across the dealership to make it, more addressable to the customer's needs as they, work through the life cycle of being a customer of the dealership. And so what we try to do is automate engagements using our AI platform. In this day and age where people are looking for instant gratification and have lots of tools where you're ordering food or ordering a car or whatever, that engagement kind of goes on in a digital world. And so we've looked at all these different engagements that exist between dealerships and their customers, and we've tried to apply smart, engagement processes there that gives the customer the sense that the dealer really cares about my problem and they're going to address it. And we are able to do that 24/7 at scale. So that's ultimately what we do, but there's a lot of benefits that get derived by both the customer and the dealer downstream.
And Ashleigh, as Ron said, this is an exciting year for fixed operations, and congratulations to you and all that's ahead at marketing at Blink AI.
Thank you, Ted. I'm very excited to have joined an incredible team here at Blink. We have a team of true innovators, and they understand what the industry needs, and it's going to be a big year for Blink AI.
Super. Dave, give us a little more color. Tell us about AI's role in fixed ops. Ron mentioned that earlier, but how do you see it?
Well, there's so many applicable areas for AI. The first, I think that, originally AI made its big impact on the dealership with conversational AI. There was a number of agents that would interact with customers over the telephone, and not all of them were fully successful. There was plenty of stories about selling cars for $1 and some things like that, but that's typical of any, early stage, that kind of bleeding edge of technology. But AI can engage with customers in many different ways in terms of being able to predict things like when the customer would like to come in, to visit the dealership. So it helps you a lot in the scheduling arena for customers and times that they want to reach out. The kinds of, even when someone's trying to contact a dealer to make an appointment to bring their vehicle in, they may have 4 or 5 vehicles. And so we can use AI to be very predictive about which vehicle it is that's coming in so that we lessen the number of steps that customers have to go through the process of, doing simple things like getting an appointment. And so we make the whole experience better for the customer, making customer sat higher, which hopefully then makes customer retention for the dealership higher.
Ron, I see a lot in Fixed Ops Magazine as well about dealers finding efficiencies this year in 2025. That seems to be one of the dominant motivators. Ron, your thoughts?
You're absolutely right, Ted. We're seeing so many companies, everyone looking at it and saying, how do I really enhance the customer experience? How do I make that customer experience we find a tool that makes it easier for us, but a tool that makes it easier for the customer, and therefore the customer, has much better CSI scores, and also at the same time it really is efficient for the store. We talked about contacting the customer before the customer calls you in the first place. So cut down the number of phone calls coming in by reaching out to them before they even call. So Blink AI's got some great products like that really make a lot of sense.
And Ashleigh, the technology behind Blink is really game changing from what I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely. The technology starting with the web scheduler, like Dave said, reducing the number of steps that a customer has to take to get their appointment. I think we set it and forget it a lot on the website, and we encourage any dealer we talk to audit their website process. Go try to schedule an appointment. I did it on a Nissan site yesterday, and I had to tell the dealership what type of oil I need. I don't know what type of oil that I need. I had to tell the dealership my trim level. Like, I bought that car 5 years ago. I have no idea what my trim level is. So just reducing the number of steps that a customer has to take reduces the number of phone calls because we're forcing customers to have to call in to the store anyway, right? And we're creating all of this noise and chaos that we really can eliminate by just simplifying the web scheduling process. And then, of course, if they do call in for any issue, some people just prefer to call. We have the AI agents right there. And of course, you're going to have complex conversations that do need to get transferred. So you have to have an intelligent way of transferring the calls. And then, like Ron mentioned, having we have a service marketing engine. Any campaign you want to run, we can run that campaign through automation, backed by AI, through SMS and email. So there's a lot going on in the background that I think is what we're looking to expose to dealers this year.
Dave, this has come such a long way. I know Ron and I can remember back 5, 6, 7 years ago when dealers didn't even have anything for fixed operations on their website. There was nothing about service or scheduling an appointment. And Dave, it's really fixed ops has really come to the forefront.
Well, I think it's advanced a lot over the last few years, as you pointed out, Ted. But what gets me excited is thinking about what's next. There's so many more things that you can do once you've established a clear channel of communication with your customer, one based on trust, and being able to do quick service for them. There's a generational change that's going on in automobile ownership. People are looking much more at subscription-based everything, right? So not only do I might not even want to buy a car, I certainly don't want to service a car unless I have to. And so to make all those steps in ownership so much easier, it's just going to embrace that next generation of folks that are growing their families and learning what the flexibility of car ownership has versus just driving Ubers around all over the place.
So, Dave, will Blink actually help improve the customer experience for dealership and service centers alike?
Oh, absolutely. And so, but it improves it on both sides of the house, right? So more and more, and one of the great things that we've built into our platform is lots of statistics that show when people are booking appointments and what method that they like to book the appointments. One of the things that it interests me is that a lot of the first calls that we get from dealers is complaints about my phones are ringing too much. I need a phone-based system to handle the phone calls. And the dirty secret is that the problem is way upstream from that. The reason they're calling the dealership is because they didn't have a good digital experience with you. And so by having that scheduler on not only your website, but on the social media platforms and other places, now you're capturing those appointments, getting those people set to come in to visit your dealership at a convenient time for them, but also convenient for the dealer. If it's not easier to make an appointment, they're just going to show up at the dealership in the morning. And now you've got this mad rush for resources, which makes everybody dissatisfied. So at the end of the day, it makes the customer much happier, but then it smooths out that day of operations for the dealership. And as Ashleigh pointed out earlier, once we've captured all the inbound calls, we can do outbound campaigns that drives additional people in to basically fill out the whole capacity of the dealership. So the dealership operates much more efficiently.
Ron, it's important that dealers have partners like this because we tend to want to overcomplicate it. And if technology can find a way to make it frictionless and easier for the customer, it's a huge win, Ron.
That is so true. I mean, so many people try to adopt 4 or 5 different companies to do things that this one company can do and help them. So the beauty of working with someone like AI, it's a trustworthy company that you can use for more than one facet of your business.
Ashleigh, this technology, any technology is only as good as adoption. Is this easy to implement? And what kind of training or support is Blink offering to help provide success for the dealer community?
Yeah, just in my short time here, I dived in with listening to some of our kickoff calls and onboarding calls. We have a powerhouse of a customer success team. The director of our customer success was a service director herself. So she understands the needs and the gaps that we need to fill in order to successfully implement Blink AI on the web, on the phone. She understands how to recommend the right campaigns that are going to fill out the capacities. And so she leads a team here that is incredible at launching and onboarding and keeping our dealers engaged.
Dave and Ashleigh, I'll ask both of you. Are there any standout success stories or milestones you'd like to share about Blink and how it impacts the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we do for our dealerships when we bring them on board, Ted, is we look at what was before, kind of the before picture. How many appointments were you doing? How did that convert to ROs? How did those ROs aggregate in terms of total, revenue and profits to the dealership? And one of the proudest things for me as the CEO of the company is to show, that impact kind of before and after. And a lot of AI systems, they take a long time to basically be trained. So you may not see the benefit of them for, 6 months or longer. That's not the case with Blink AI. When we go on board at automobile dealerships, we see that impact immediately. And so like month 1, you're seeing a pretty dramatic uptake of new appointments. And then shortly after that, the number of ROs and the value of those ROs. An interesting point I'd like to make is that when you give the customer time, if you book them in at a specific time, you engage with them when they arrive, you can get them in and out quickly, then they're much, much more likely to be able to take advantage of upsell services as well. So the value of ROs for our dealerships goes up even above the number of just pure quantity of ROs that get created there. So the impact on the dealerships it gets us excited, gets our entire team excited. Ashleigh pointed out we have a great customer success team that works with customers day in and day out, but basically with the mission to help optimize their department there, make their customers happier and make their operations perform much more smoothly.
Ron, our friend Tully Williams says it's all about the hours, and customers also tell us it's about the time saved. Time seems to be the most important at the top of the list. And Ron, it would seem to me that this is the year in saving the customer some time as well.
Oh, for sure. People don't have time, right? We're all busy people. And, when you think of all the other industries that affect our lives, right? I think I mentioned one time about, a dental appointment. How does that work? Well, they sent me a text message and said, Ron, you're due for a whatever. And does this time or this time work better for you? And, I didn't call the dentist. He called me. They have their own little program to know, exactly when I need to be in there. And, that's what's going on today. And then you realize that your time isn't going to be wasted. You've made your appointment that quickly, using SMS, and next thing you know, you're on your way, and you haven't wasted time going through phone trees and talking to people, trying to get to the right person to make an appointment. It's a big difference.
Yeah, speaking of time, another one of our kind of bells and whistles is our service score feature, where we are proactively reaching out as soon as that RO is closed to the customer, asking them, what their experience was so that we can alert the dealer of any sort of anything less than a 4 alerts the dealer so that they can get ahead of their CSI scores. And a lot of what I've seen in response to that is around time. If it's anything lower than a 3, it's almost always, I spent way too long just trying to get an oil change. They'll say nice things about the people, and people are great and people are nice, but I don't want to sit at the dealership for 2.5 hours waiting for an oil change.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ashleigh. And we also combine that with our sales lead program as well, because if you think, you've got somebody that's going to show up at the dealership at a particular day and time, probably going to spend an hour or maybe 2 there at the dealership waiting for their car. What a perfect time to introduce them to the new models. And so since, again, using AI, we know how long they've owned their car, maybe how much equity they've got in their car, what the mileage is, what the service history is. It's a really good opportunity to drive a new car sales lead into the dealership and potentially create an opportunity to get another used vehicle into the shop as well for sale through that department. So we're looking at all the engagements that happen across the dealership and find ways to automate those. And I would say to you that automation isn't an option any longer. It's absolutely mandatory going forward.
Dave and Ashleigh, Blink is up and running. You're in many dealerships now. I know you have a lot of innovations or features that are coming. I don't know, Dave, if you can speak to any of that today or give us a little peek behind the curtain of what you got coming. I know you're going to show us a lot at NADA,
right.
But any of that you could speak to today, Dave?
Well, we got a very exciting roadmap, I would say, Ted, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too far here, but I would say that, cars are getting smarter. They've been getting smarter for quite a while. Cars can tell you a lot about, what's happening with the vehicle, but also what the customer experience is as well. And so I'll just say that I think telematics is going to be a huge impact, the ability to drive customers into the dealership. Again, well in advance of them knowing they've got a problem and calling the dealership. So if you're waiting for the customer to call you to let you know they got a problem, then you're behind the game already. And so we'll be working feverishly to come up with some really innovative things in that area.
All right. I understand you're going to be at NADA. Ashleigh, tell us about that. You've been working hard to put all this together for our audience that's going to be in New Orleans later this week. I see a booth number at the bottom, 8945. What do you have in store for us there?
Yeah, so we have a lot, actually. We've put together kind of a little Blink experience. So come by the booth. You can play a game of Blinko or Plinko. You can register for a chance to win Formula One racing tickets. And obviously see a live demo, a custom demo, custom to your store. So we're very excited. It's kind of our coming out party at NADA in New Orleans. So if you go to that link at the bottom, you can also pick a time to come by the booth and have your own time registered.
And Dave, if I may, as a closing question that I want to ask, how do you envision the future of fixed operations looking out over the horizon this year and beyond? What role are the solutions that Blink has or will have play in the future or in shaping that future?
Sure. Being that I live, 24 hours a day thinking about this and working towards this has become a bit of a mission for me personally, but I know certainly the rest of my team. We know there's a lot of issues facing automobile retailing going forward, technology-wise, business model-wise, the like. But we know that there's a huge audience of people out there that are looking for how that next generation of, transportation is going to work across the board. And we want to be an integral part of it. And we think that engagement with the customer is absolutely critical to that. It's hard to have customer retention without positive customer engagement. And so that's going to be the focus of ourselves. I mean, this isn't your grandfather's dealership anymore. This is for the current generation, the next generation. As I know, when I was turned 16, I had to go buy a car immediately. And now I see, you know, my kids and my friends' kids, and when they turn 16, you don't see that level of enthusiasm anymore. They think of transportation being a little bit different than the freedom that cars represented to us. Now the freedom is represented in a digital device that they carry around in their pocket. And so we've got to marry those two together. We've got to make sure that that we preserve this industry. We preserve, you know, the ability to go anywhere, anytime in your vehicle, the status and comfort that you get from driving around. And we need to make that experience in the car equal to, the experience that you have with the dealership equal to the experience that you have in the car as well. And so we're super excited about where this is going, but I wish if I knew exactly where it was going, I should probably write a book about it.
Ron, exciting times to be in our industry, and with all that's happening, Ron. And I know you and I get a chance to see a lot of this, but Blink is really on the forefront.
You're absolutely right. You absolutely have to have this technology today. If you don't have it, you know, you're just falling behind faster. And you know, people don't tell you that they don't like your service. They just leave your business and go somewhere else. And defection is what you're trying to avoid. And this is a big step to keep that customer aboard and keep them in your ranks.
Yep. Well, Dave and Ashleigh, congratulations to you on all that's ahead with Blink AI. We look forward to having you back on the roundtable and perhaps, you know, taking this up even a few more notches, sharing some best practices, what some of your dealers are doing, what some of the roundtable dealers are doing, Fixed Ops Magazine dealers are doing. And Dave, congratulations again to both of you.
All right. Thank you, both Ted and Ron. I really appreciate having us on today.
All right, Ashleigh, give us the call to action, NADA booth, and how do we find you there? And what do we do if we're not going to NADA? What's the best way?
Blinkai.com. You can contact us through the website. You can find me on LinkedIn always. We put Dave's email down there, blow him up. We don't mind.
All right. And it's NADA booth number 8945 in New Orleans later this week. Dave, will you be there as well?
I'll absolutely be there, the entire show. So I'd love to visit with you guys, but anybody else that's listening, come by and see us. I'd love to get to know you.
All right, everybody. Blink is here. It's now. It's the name in technology and AI, and it's here for dealers and to make life a lot easier for our dealer audience. So congratulations again to Dave Perry, Ashleigh Norton from Blink, Ron Overs, the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine. Thank you all for being with us and look forward to great things ahead in 2025.
Thank you, Ted. See you soon.
Thank you.
The fastest pit change in a Formula One race took 1.80 seconds. At Blink AI, we say challenge accepted as we take your dealership from zero to hero with our platform that's purpose-built to shift the customer experience into high gear. Unlike solutions that promise efficiency with AI chatbots, Blink AI turns your dealership operation into a profit powerhouse. With Blink AI, you get scheduling solutions that work together to increase your bottom line. It's about turning interactions into actions that drive dealership success. We're talking about intelligent phone automation and seamless scheduling that increases appointments without increased overhead, and workflow automation that eliminates service bottlenecks and boosts staff productivity, and a customer campaign solution that proactively engages customers and increases CSI scores. Blink AI, your dealership's #1 pit crew.
Hey everyone, Sarah Vantine here. I've got the coolest thing to show you today. I don't know if you're like me, but whenever I go to places, I'm not very good at keeping track of people's business cards. It's kind of laborious for me to get all that information imported into my phone, and I'm also pretty bad about sticking business cards in my pocket and having them fall out as I'm going about the rest of my day. Well, I just got this card in the mail, and let me tell you, this is so cool. This is the Capital One Muse card. It comes in this sleeve, but when you pull it out, It is solid metal, and it has some of the coolest technology embedded in the card. If you want to share your contact details with someone, all you do is tap this part of the card onto their phone, and it pulls up a unique URL right there on their screen that can help get your contact information and their information into your dealership's CRM and Dealer Navigator. They can also quickly access your dealership's inventory and even get pre-approved right there from the link. The other cool feature is that it gives your customers a way to save your contact details right in their phone at the touch of a button, and that prevents them from losing your business card, because all they do is click save on the contact information and that's it. It makes things super easy for your customer, and you only have to hold on to this one business card. And this is not going to get bent or messed up looking. It's solid metal. It's fantastic. If you want more details on the Capital One Muse card, I'll drop a link to learn more right in the comments, or you can visit CapitalOne.com and check out the Auto Financing Dealer tab.
Go big or go home with Mike Bauer from BG Products.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It is a great honor to welcome our friend and colleague from BG Products. Mike Bauer is with us. Mike is the corporate trainer, US and Canada, a fan favorite here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and apparently a fan favorite throughout the continent. Mike, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Good morning. Always a pleasure to sit on your show and talk some biz. Thank you.
Hey, and congratulations to you and to BG. I mean, what a year. What an amazing year. Great strides. You're doing a lot of work. And now, on behalf of the dealers with some OEMs as well. And just a great time to be in our industry, Mike.
Oh, I was actually thinking about retiring in 2 years. I'm thinking maybe I want to change my mind, because this is the best time for BG, with the announcement through General Motors and now Ford Motorcraft, and Ted, I got to tell you, having been in fixed ops and sitting in the chair, I was told by my factory reps that snake oil, was the Antichrist. And if you use it, we're going to bring down the wrath of God on you. And then as a BG rep, becoming the snake oil salesman, I knew as a manager, it already got us out of trouble. And for 12 years, we've been preaching, look, we know the effects of the fuel. We know the problems you're having. And we got laughed out of so many dealerships. And now finally, for the OEM to go, hey, you guys were right, and you guys are fixing the problem. It's, I got to tell you, it's been a breath of fresh air. It really has. So, God, we are just so thrilled, so honored. And you're right. It's the best time to be part of the BG family. So we're doing good things, and we know it. We know it.
And you're doing the right thing. And it's come, like you just said, it's come full circle. All right. And, I'm so glad that it has. And I want to ask you a little bit, if it's okay, Mike, today about some of the training that you and that BG provides, because nobody provides training the way you do for dealerships, service advisors on the drive, for management. And there's so much to BG, okay, than just what's in a can, okay? And I want to, elaborate on that and maybe dig into that a little bit, if that's okay, because that's your sweet spot. I know that. I've seen you in action.
Yeah, it definitely is my wheelhouse, no question. Yeah, Ted, the thing that I love when I first came on to BG was, and the majority of us out there about selling honorably and ethically. In my courses, the very first two notes I give, number one, is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I don't care if an advisor knows anything about automotive. The second note is family. And I make everybody in class pick somebody in their inner circle that they are incredibly close to, right? Family, friend, whoever it is. All of us have that one person. However, they got to be old enough to drive, can't know anything about a car. So from that point forward in my trainings, whenever I say the word customer, this is the person that's standing in front of you. This is the person that's in the middle of that situation. And Ted, the transformation is unbelievable. So when you truly give them and treat them from your heart and you do it honorably and ethically, that's the key. But they also need to understand that we all agree overselling is completely wrong, but so is underselling. And we do that a lot. And that is not good. So we got to find the sweet spot. And finding the sweet spot comes through education. And that's where us at BG play a huge role. So we got training from the field rep, their distributor, corporate. I traveled 42 weeks. I'm going to be in St. Louis next week, traveling over St. Louis and parts of Illinois. So we go to their dealership, but also all the training apps. So we've got everything and anything any store could possibly need, But you know what our biggest wall is trying to get them to understand that when we train, it is not all about BG. It's not just a Kool-Aid. It's about the process. It's about the relationship, And so when I'm done with my trainings, I get a lot of management going, I got to tell you, that was refreshing. I thought walking in here was going to be all about the Kool-Aid, and it wasn't. I said, it can't be. We need to teach them how to sell. We need to get them to understand their position so they can have a conversation. An advisor consultant is an educator. So we need not a writer. Dude, I can get anybody to write a ticket. I need somebody that's going to take care of my wife and make sure that when my wife comes in, she feels safe. And you know what? It really is that easy.
And that's a really needed, if I may, the training is something that's sorely needed in dealerships. Like you said, you provide it not only in person, but you provide great tools. You've got the apps, you've got very sophisticated tools as well that I've seen firsthand that only BG has, that nobody else has even thought of yet. Okay, award-winning tools.
Yes,
I remember back to my training days, Mike. The biggest reason that we don't get the sale is we don't ask. Okay, and a lot of times advisors don't know how to ask. And that's where you come in and you help provide that information. If you want to maybe share some of that with us.
God, that is such a great point. And I was there. I started washing cars. Then I went up to the drive. I didn't have a clue what I was doing because all of us were trained by another advisor who was trained by another advisor, trained by another advisor. So we all said and did that had the same word tracks. The biggest thing I tell everybody is stop asking and start telling. If your mama came in with her car and her brakes were shot, would you really say, is that something you'd like to do today? Are you kidding me? Somebody kick me in the head. No, you would say to your loved one, your brakes are shot. We got to get those done. And I said the word we because we're part of that scenario. So say what you mean what you say it. Tell them what they need, then tell them what the investment is. Get rid of the word cost. That is such a negative. It is investment. It's like, whenever you spend money in your car, you're increasing the value. With today's car prices, you want to get the best bang and the more bang for your buck when you go to sell it, either privately or, to the dealership. But if you spend money on it and show maintenance records, you're going to get that. It's like remodeling your kitchen or your bathroom in your house. You increase the value. So it's not a cost. It's an investment. The last word, because I know they want to ask the question, should be this. How would you like to proceed? And then shut up. There's no reason to talk. You said what you said. You stated it. How do you want to proceed? That's it. No need to say any more. But yeah, the him and Han, one of my gurus, Charlie Polston out of
Yes,
Oklahoma.
Charlie. Wow. Yeah.
Well, thank God I had a guru in him. Oh my God. But he kept saying, Mikey, we keep circling the airport, but we never land the plane. And he's right. So absolutely true. But yeah, Andy Baldessari and all his team have done such a phenomenal job with the training tools that we have at our disposal to give to our customers. So yeah, training is so needed.
And you've taken training to a new level. So, Mike, how do you set up and I know there's more than one way, but how do you set up the training? How do you go about doing that for a dealership, whether they are currently a BG dealer or they're new to BG? How do you go about it? Because, even the best of advisors, we all need batting practice, right? We all need a tune up. We all need training constantly to refine our skills.
True. Well, you made a great analogy, batting practice. You have to keep fresh, and I always get people say, Mikey, do you want the green peas or do you want the veterans? Do you want the independents or do you want the dealers? I want everybody in the room. I want independents. I want dealers. I want green peas. I want veterans. And I will look at the veteran and I'm going to say, I know what you're thinking. Why am I here? If you didn't know what I was doing, then they should just get rid of me. And then they'll sit there like this in the back of the room. And I told them, I'm not going to teach you anything you don't already know, but I'm going to remind you to get back to the basics. I was there. I did the same thing. I got away from it and the job started becoming harder. I'm like, what changed? Nothing changed. I changed. So you're right. Batting practice is needed. I'll give you a quick scenario. A couple of months ago, I'm somewhere in Nebraska and I had this dealer group. And sure enough, in the back, I already know veteran attitude, waste of my time. And I asked everybody, simple question. When you wash your hands, do you wash the top and the bottom? Or do you wash the top and you look at the bottom and go, nope, that looks good. I'll wash that next week. No, you don't do one without the other. So the point I was getting at, when you replace a cabin air filter, how does it clean that system? It must be a miracle, Ted, because everybody's doing it. I mean, do you wave the magic wand and go, poof, it's clean? It's still dirty. And this veteran in the back barked up because he wanted to prove his weight to everybody in the room, said, well, we're not here to rip off customers. Ted, I looked him straight in the eye and I go, what the hell do you think you've been doing, son? And you could have heard a pin drop. Now, I'm not claiming to be the guru, but I do have common sense because I did the same thing. And he stopped. And I said, you're doing half the job, but the customer thinks they're getting the full job. If they were really to know that we didn't clean anything, I got a feeling they'd be pretty upset. So why don't we just do the job? And, you could see the wheels turning with everybody in the class because we keep doing what we're doing. If you keep doing what you're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. So let's change it. And change is hard, but that's where the training comes in. And Andy, when we're at BG University, Andy and I and the team tell every newbie, if you don't take what you've learned today to the field tomorrow, you will never do it. You got to hit the ground immediately and you got to get out of your comfort zone. Is it easy? No, but you'll be on to better things. But once you see them get it and it clicks, they go, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And Mike, BG is not only training the retail people, but go back to BG University. You're training the distributors, okay, who call on the dealers and work with the dealers. And you're training them and you're training them to become coaches and refining their skills. And that's unique. And I've seen the setup you've got there at BG University. Again, second to none, right? I mean, you've really, and I've seen a lot of the interactivity Mike, I know you injected that into the training because I could see how much you enjoy doing that and how much your participants enjoy, interacting with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we do what we call BGU boot camp sales. So any new rep, and this is globally. So there's not just here in North America. We get internationals in, they'll bring their interpreters, and I'll hold the class to about 20 because we do a lot of role play, and it is boot camp. They fly in Sunday, Monday morning, and we see the transformation, and we take them through every aspect about BG, sales, chemistry, tools and equipment, demoing, cold call, revenue reporting, business plans. I mean, there is no rest. So when they come in, if they think at 6 o'clock, they're going to go out partying, I give them homework. And I tell them, if you don't do it, it's on you, but you're going to look like an idiot tomorrow. So we do 5 of those a year. And then I built a service drive. So any BG rep that has never been an advisor, I build a module where I bring them in and it's no BG, it is all advisor. So we have a service drive. We have a working service drive. So we take them from the meet and greet all the way through the day to the active delivery. And believe it or not, I've actually had some advisors come in and going, that was a great refresher, but I need everybody to stand in the shoes of the advisor, because it builds credibility. Because if you've never been an advisor and I have you as a sales rep coming in and I'm the advisor and I'm busy and I know you've never been, there's not a lot of credibility there. So, yeah.
It's sort of like if I can draw the analogy, like a flight simulator, okay? You're putting everybody through how to fly the plane, but with the safety of being, on the ground. They're not going to crash, but you've got a real world service drive set up to do that training.
We do. And the biggest part of that is the walk around, which we discussed the last time. So I'll take them on the service drive and I will teach them it. And everybody, and I limit that class to 10 because I need a lot of personal time. So we're not just rifling through bodies. And we take them through the 6 steps. And I get into the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And it's all educating at the car, not selling unless it's blatantly broken. But we're going to educate at the car. We're going to plant the seed for the customer. So if I'm looking at tires, then I'm going to tell the customer, hey, Ted, tires look great. However, the service intervals, every 5,000, rotate. Every 10, rotate and balance. And then at 15, it's a rotate alignment. Then the word track goes, but Ted, I will check your history. If we find that has not been performed, then that is something we will entertain. Because when you go up to your desk and you pull up history, the customer's going, oh God, here we go. But we're not doing it. We're educating at the car. I've already told you they look good. However, if you haven't done it during these intervals, then that's something we need to talk about. And it's a much easier way of selling. Ted, I was trying to think, what did we talk about the last time? And I want to make sure that if I didn't, I say it now. We all know that every advisor is missing by 0.3 per customer per ticket. The industry has always told us if we can get advisors to add a legitimate 0.3 to every customer, every ticket, the customer benefits, the store benefits profitability, okay, parts and service, the technician benefits, because now it's just not a standard oil change multi-point, because they get upset and I don't blame them. And then the advisor. And I do the math in my class. I ask every advisor, how many cars do you write a day? Warranty and CP. Because there are warranty tickets that you still will sell a customer CP line. So they'll say, I do 15. All right, well, let's take 7 of those. And let's add 0.3 because I believe in being conservative. So we'll take that number, 0.3 times 7, that's per day. Then we multiply it times the number of days a week. Then it's a month. Then it's a year. That is the number of labor hours you've just added to your personal income. And guess what? We didn't add any parts. That was strictly labor. No bonuses, no parts, none of that. And Ted, the eyeballs pop. So that's great. But now we got to teach them how. That's when we go out to the car and I'll say, there are 2/10, 1/10 all over this car. We keep missing them. It's like an Easter egg hunt, right? When you're a kid, go find the egg. Go to the car, find the 1/10, 2/10. You know what's always been missed? That air dam that's under the front end of the car.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do you and I do it? And everybody else out there, we park our car too close to the sidewalk at the restaurant, and you hear that god-awful scraping sound, right? And you're like, so the thing of it is, that thing is hanging. And how many of our lube guys put the car in the air and I go, how many of these do you see? Oh my God, almost all of them. All right, if my tech has got to repair it, I'm charging a 1/10 or 2. It's right there. Go find it.
And there's a lot of change and upheaval in the front end of the dealerships lately. It seems, Mike, a lot of, I guess a nice polite word is market compression. Okay, it's not quite what it was a couple of years ago. So I think going into the new year, which we're only a couple of weeks away from, Mike, there's going to be continued focus on the service drive because every customer coming into the service drive, one way or another, is a buyer. Okay. And it's up to us. And by the way, the customer trusts the advisor. They've got a relationship with that advisor. The salesperson, the business manager, maybe not so much. But when I've got a question, I go to my service advisor. That's the person I trust. And I've built that relationship with them.
Absolutely. Because they're family. They're total family. But it's training the customer. But first, we get a training advisor. So when got people come into my service drive class, they have to do it. And Ted, it's a train wreck, as it would be when you go to the dealerships to train the advisors. They've never done it. So you take it in bits and pieces. You don't do the whole thing. When I was doing Broadway shows, you rehearsed it. And then before you took it to Broadway, you took it to the small towns to work the bugs out. So we tell the advisors, just start with the meet and greet, get the customer into the car, do the walk around, that's it. And then the next week, we'll add a little bit of something. Because if they're not comfortable, they'll never do it. Now, the biggest excuse that I get from management, we don't have the time. Well, I'm going to say this loud and clear. You better make time because it's either you're too busy or too slow. You better make time. We're there to help you. We're not putting this on you. Let us do the work. But finally, if you really find that your advisor is too busy, get a greeter. I got a greeter who was a waitress in a restaurant, paid her minimum wage. They already know how to do a proper meet and greet, which a lot of our advisors do not do. They know how to upsell. But the beauty of this, now they're a greeter. Now they're also an advisor in training. They're an apprentice. Because anytime I've hired old advisors, they came with baggage. But now I've got somebody brand new to the industry. I can train them my way. So now when I got an advisor sick, I don't have to go in their office. I call the greeter, go, give it a shot, kid. We're here if you need us. And it has worked every single time. And they're an hourly employee. But you know what the excuse I get? We can't afford it. Are you kidding me? You cannot afford an hourly. Are you guys going under? Is there something you want to tell me? Excuses. That's all they are, just excuses. Let's get out of our comfort zone.
What about managers? Because managers need a tune-up also. Managers need a coach, okay? Managers need someone that, no matter how good you are, okay, you need that coach. What do you do in a case of, the service managers?
We actually have a huge dealer group from Arkansas that is coming to BG, and they ask for fixed ops training. I'm not going to get into numbers. I'm going to get into how do you train your advisor? And one of the first things I'm going to hit with, how do you conduct a meeting? Because every meeting I had in the morning at lunch at Denny's with our service manager was a beatdown. And then when I went up front to sell cars, it was a totally different meeting. I was so uplifted. Why do we do the sales meeting with our advisors? Because aren't our advisors salespeople? So why don't we have motivational meetings? Let's teach them how to train, how to motivate. There should be a quick 15-minute meeting every morning with your advisors. If it's a new process, all right, we're going to start setting appointments. Johnny, how many appointments are you going to set? Boss, I'm going to set 3. And at the end of the day, you go over and say, well, how many appointments did you set? Oh, well, I was busy. No, you committed to 3. Accountability is key. Consistency is key. There is none of that. So our managers, if they would start doing that, and I don't, look, I know I'm with BG, we're going to keep pushing BG. We are there to help. Bring us into your meetings. We will help you because as a manager, you got a bowl on your plate. You're going through a remodel. I had to read blueprints. I didn't even know how to read. So we get it. But it really has got to start from mom and dad. The managers are key, but they got to know how to do it.
Mike, if our audience wants to reach out for more information, more of the great stuff that you, Mikey B, do and that BG does, what's the best way to do that? Okay, to find out more.
You know what? You can either go to bgprod.com or just email me directly at mbauer@bgprod.com. I promise you, and I tell everybody, I will get back to you. If not right away, it's usually because I'm 36,000 feet or
you're
I'm
on the
in a
road a
training
lot.
facility. But I definitely will get back to you. But please reach out. It's not just selling BG, it's selling preventive maintenance, all of it. And obviously, it's going to help in your retention, your profitability. And we're getting into slow season. We're getting into the holidays. We're going to get into taxes. So you need to do something different to start, digging deeper. You either say you're too busy or too slow. You got to pick one. It can be both. But let's do it now because we're also getting into forecasting for the new year. Where are you going to find that extra 10% growth? We're here. You've left it on the table. Let me show you how to get it, but let's do it honorably and ethically. Okay? We're not here to flush the wallet, drink the Kool-Aid. Get rid of that. Get rid of that.
I love it. Mike, on behalf of the retail community, I want to wish you and your family and the BG family weekend. Thank you for all that you do for our industry, which is so much, and you've helped take us to a whole new level.
Thank you. It's my passion, and seriously, happy holidays to everybody. I just can't believe we're already here.
Everybody, the best in the business, Mike Bauer, BG Products. Reach out. For more information, you can go to the website, bgprod.com, bgprod.com. Mike's email is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. He's a fantastic resource if you've got questions and to learn more about what BG can help you and your dealership achieve for your customers. Mike Bauer, everybody. Mikey B from BG Products, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, everybody.
Take a moment now to pull over and pull out your phones to scan the QR code on your screen to vote for the Shon Butler Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of the event. Remember, every vote counts. So make sure to make room in the van for the 5 best speakers or panelists to join your road trip by casting your vote. And remember, you can only vote once. This trip is out of this world. Please welcome Tyler Nathan from Jupiter Warranty.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable on our Route 66 road trip across America. We're going to stop now in dealership and visit our great friend, Tyler Nathan from Jupiter Warranty Management, who is in dealership working to help dealers collect receivables, checking those schedules, and hard at work. Tyler, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hello, Ted. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy to New Year to you, Tyler, and to the team at Jupiter. Congratulations. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff going on right now in the industry. And thanks for making the time to spend a few minutes with us here on the Roundtable and to bring us up to speed.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right. I know you're in store right now, okay? And you're working in dealership, working with a particular group. Talk to us a little bit, because I learned recently that a big part of what you do is the on-site training, okay? And helping dealers improve time clocking and time punching so that the proper amounts are collected. It's so important, warranty receivables. Talk to us a little bit about that, if you would, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Yeah, absolutely. We one of the things we found is that even if you have a really good warranty administrator, many times the administration is kind of the caboose on the train, if you will, right? So a lot has to get done before it ever gets to the caboose, and that's where sometimes dealers struggle. So you can have a huge degree of variance between, let's say, we'll have the same admin and they'll have, 5, 6, maybe 10 different dealerships. And there'll be a big difference between the quality of the claims that we get from some of those dealerships versus others. And so in recognizing this, we found that there's a lot that we could do to improve that by coming out to the dealership and launching the program. It not only does it help with communication, because communication is key with when you have an admin on site, it's a whole different feel than it is when you use an outside company. And once a dealership embraces that process, it actually will make their claims better. So they'll get better quality claims because it creates some accountability. But it also, communication is key. That has to happen. And so that's why we're here. And we're also here to talk about the manufacturer requirements.
So go back to what you just said on the communication side, because I agree with you. That's so important. The technician, the service advisor, warranty administration, the dealer, you've got the OEM, you've got a lot of moving parts here, Tyler. How do you work with dealers? I know a big part of what you do is remote, but the fact that you're there on dealership helping to set up this accountability, if you will, I think that's a big plus.
Absolutely, it is. So one of the things is that the whole RO starts, well, it could start with your BDC making the appointment, or it could start with your advisor who's making the appointment. And it's important that the advisor, a lot of dealerships fail at selling appointments. You don't have to be draconian about it, but if they sell appointments, they can really protect that 15 to 30 minutes with their clients, where that advisor can get a really good write-up. And so we try to, that's one of the things that we bring to their attention when we come out here is, writing up a good story. And also that's going to help that advisor with sales later on. So if they spend that time doing the walk around properly, and actually, in a sense, we all know what order takers are. We go to, McDonald's or Burger King, and rarely does the person behind the counter have any idea of what's really going on. And advisors have to overcome that. And the way they overcome it is by going to that vehicle and really checking that vehicle in properly. And so we help them. We talk about those things and make sure that they're going to get a good write-up. But then as it goes from there, it goes to the technician. The technician needs to clock properly, write good stories. And so I just, at this dealership I was at today, spent an hour and 20 minutes with their advisors and technicians in 2 separate meetings. And we drill down into what's specific for that OEM. But we also talk about how they can maximize the time that they're going to get out of the claim. Like, if they clock properly, this particular dealership uses CDK, and CDK has this option of using DW time. So in other words, they can clock on the ticket as W for going to work on the job, but then the techs can also use DW for indicating that time is special. So like when they're asking for OLH time, if it's GM, or M time if it's Ford, or 00 time if it's Stellantis.
Okay.
That's what they would do, is they would use that. And so then it goes, then the final thing is that advisor is going to be that last person to really review the ticket. And if any of these things kind of break down in the process, what your question was specifically was, how do we create that accountability? Well, we're going to go to that source. So the advisor who generated that ticket, we're going to reach out to them, specifically also tag management in on it. And we set the management up so that they're not our warranty assistant. That's what you got to battle, is that sometimes when you hire a warranty company, you can turn your service manager into this person who's spending 2 hours a day chasing warranty items. And what we do is help set it up so that your team does most of that work, and then puts the manager in a supervisory position to oversee that process.
Tyler Nathan, everybody, from Jupiter Warranty Management. He's in dealership today, okay, working with stores. Tyler, you've mentioned to me over the last year or more several times on the show that there's a lot of money out there these days when it comes to warranty receivables. Here we are at the beginning of the year, January, just a couple weeks in. What do you see out there that dealers need to be aware of? Because you work with so many dealers, and here you are in dealership, on the front lines. What are you seeing out there that we need to be cognizant and aware of?
Well, that we get a lot of dealers that call us up and they're in trouble already. Unfortunately, the labor market's been tight for quite some time, and finding people who are skilled and experienced with warranty administration normally doesn't happen too much for a dealership, because they're limited to a range around their store. So a lot of times they're going through the back-breaking effort of training them, and it can take. Not everybody can do the job. Sometimes you can waste a lot of time working with somebody who just either doesn't appreciate the job, doesn't like the job, or just isn't good at it. And so dealers will lose a lot of money. That's the biggest loss, is that they don't collect. Those employees aren't after every dime that's out there in many cases. And then they also fall behind, and maybe they're getting most of them paid, but the hard ones are piling up. And next thing you know, you're writing off hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the store. So that's definitely the biggest loss. But if they, even when a dealership has good administration, if they're weak on their stories and things, that can cost them a lot in audit chargebacks, of course. And then it can also cost them a lot in just missed opportunities.
Tell us a little bit more about adhering to things like OEM policies. Tyler, that's got to be constantly evolving and changing. There's new rules this week that may not have been in place weeks ago. How do you help dealers do things like that? I know you're on top of it because you're in so many different dealerships working with all of these OEMs, but how do you help dealers with that? It's got to be complex.
Yes, sir, it is. And that's why when you hire us, you're kind of actually getting several small companies, if you will, and each small company specializes in that particular OEM. So we have a lead person, that handles each OEM. So if it's Ford, we've got a Ford lead, or, GM or Honda. And what we do is that lead makes sure that our admins are all staying caught up on the latest TSBs and the nuances, because you're right, they change a lot. Matter of fact, we've even experienced where we've hired an admin who's maybe been out of something for a couple of years. You bring them back in and they're so rusty because so much has changed in just 2 years. So it's it's very important to have somebody who's very, is up to speed on the most current stances. Now, I do come out to the dealership. I have specialized handouts that the lead admins work with me to develop, so that when I'm out here doing the training, that we're talking about those specific things. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't realize that Ford requires a repeat repair log. So you not only have you have a form you have to attach whenever there's a vehicle that returns within 6,000 miles or 6 months, and that has to be attached to it. GM has a battery sticker. I go into 60% of the GM dealerships and they don't know what a battery sticker is, but you're supposed to peel that sticker off and put it on the hard copy. So these are specific things that come about all the time with Honda. It's required that you keep that rep's email. If for some reason you can't reproduce the rep's email, you can get charged back on a ticket if that's not attached to the repair order. So there's just each OEM has its specific things. Some of them, Toyota only allows you a single invoice. You cannot, some dealerships like to write up a ticket for warranty and one for customer pay. Most don't do that nowadays, but Toyota, you cannot do that for Toyota. So there's many different things that you have to know and be aware of. And of course, we document those in our handouts. We go out specifically and cover those things with with the technicians, the advisors, and of course, management.
And Tyler, I would imagine that what you do at Jupiter, you're constantly submitting and reconciling payments on behalf of the dealer with your team, your skilled team. Am I correct in saying that? So you really take a lot of that off the dealer, and now you're handling to make sure that gets done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. So what also we have accountability built into our own system, which is very important, because what you don't want is any warranty admin who's also doing your adjusting and posting, right? So in a dealership, that's a mistake if the dealer totally relies completely on a warranty admin to do everything without any oversight. I ran into a scenario once where this poor dealership, they had paid this admin to keep things current, but they also had given her journal abilities. And so what she was doing was journaling money from claims that she could get paid to cover claims she couldn't get paid, and they didn't notice. And so when we came to clean up their claims, a lot of them had already been paid. She just stole the money. So, but with us, you don't have to worry about that, because what we have is a couple of things. We've got accountability built in. In other words, our admins are booking, closing, submitting. Then we have a posting person. That person's going to post payments for you, so they'll get the payments. And they're just almost like a computer. I mean, they're going to basically take that statement, key it in, and post it, make sure it balances. Then we have somebody else who does the journal basically chases after those differences. It creates what we call a JV, journal voucher. They're the ones who are going to determine, oh, okay, this was paid short, or this had extra money. What was it? Was it tax? Was it miscellaneous? Was it parts? And is it something we can get paid? If it is, we get it paid without even informing the dealer. We're just going to go after it. But if an adjustment needs to occur, then we provide them a detailed JV report. And in many cases, we provide that then to our posting person, who can post those adjustments for the dealer. Finally, we have what we call a schedule status report, where we're going to go through your schedule on a monthly basis and provide a report that's going to tell you if there's any aged balances. Very important. So that usually goes right to the owner or the GM, so that they're along with other management, so everybody's aware of anything that could possibly be aging.
Tyler, I was going to ask you if you ever find any risky procedures, but you just told us a story of one. So you're really an extra eyes and ears for the dealer, whether you're there in person or whether you're remote, because you know what to look for. And like you said, all too often, dealers find out when it's too late that these things have been going on at their store.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so many times. And here's the thing that you got to keep in mind. If you're thinking about this, if you know you've got a problem, you shouldn't wait until it's too late, because it can be too late sometimes. I've got a dealership right now that is a very large dealership, and we want to help them. And they're in a situation where they're getting by. They're trying to wait for our help. But the thing is, with us, you're always going to get a skilled warranty admin. And so if you wait till the last minute, you call us up and we happen to be full in that particular manufacturer, this is one thing that you really determines whether or not you have a good company or not, is do you have a company that will just throw anybody at the problem, or will they only give you skilled warranty admins? And in our case, we're only going to give you a skilled one. So that means if we're full, we can't take you, then we've got to wait till we can have room for you. And that's the issue, is don't wait until that problem is staring you in the face. Sometimes we get dealers where the admin already left and they've got, 2 or 3 weeks worth of stuff laying there. And then they're in a bind and they want to get everything going right away. And we in most cases we can help, but sometimes we can't.
Tyler, how about keeping the warranty schedules clean? I hear so much about that. You got to have clean schedules. I'm sure that's a big part of your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, that's money that could be available for the dealer to utilize, rather than paying interest on their floor plan or something like that. They could have that money liquid. So you don't want money hanging out there. But the most important thing is that's where stuff gets hidden. Then that later goes out of date that you can't ever get paid. And it's all timely. So all the manufacturers are very timely. Some of the states have different varying laws that can protect you slightly, making it so that, that some of the OEMs, you can kind of force them to give you a little more time depending on the state that you're in. But in most of the states, sometimes, it doesn't really require a lot of time. You can have losses in 30 days, 60, 90 days. It's really fast.
Good reminder. These are all checks. This is all money. Okay. That's in these schedules. And like you said, I'd rather have it liquid, okay, than be waiting on it. So you really help the dealer and Tyler, this is a huge chunk of revenue for the dealership.
It is. It's usually in some OEMs, it's as low as 30%, but most it's somewhere between 40 to 60% of their service department income. Yeah.
Talk to us about, we're hearing a lot the last 2.5 years or so, especially about compliance, a lot of things that have come to the surface. How do you help dealers on the compliance side? Because if you're a dealer, you've got to be compliant, and there's so many things that you may not even be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we do is like I said, when we're here training and going over those specific things with the OEMs, we'll do that deep dive and make sure everybody's aware of it. Also, we're examining the ROs as we're closing them, and we're gonna, of course, stop the train, if you will, and ask for help from the dealership if we see something that's missing. So if we, like for instance, in Honda's case, the advisor is instructed to tell us that the email from the rep is attached to the repair order. If we don't see that in the comments, then we'll hold up the ticket and not submit it until the advisor has assured us that the email is attached. So that would be a good example.
And finally, Tyler, over the last year, you've been on the Fixed Ops Roundtable on behalf of Jupiter Warranty, and you've brought a number of dealer colleagues who are very well known and outspoken in our industry and are part of groups. How do you work with multiple franchises? Because you seem to do that extremely well. I know you work with a lot of single stores, but you do work very effectively with groups, and that seems to be growing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it makes even more sense for groups to utilize the service because of the juggling of different lines that they have to work with, and each line is think of it like a language. Because when you're a warranty administrator, if you learned, let's say that Mercedes was the line that you learned on, then every other line that you learn, you almost are translating it in your mind to Mercedes. And that's why people start off, maybe they started with Ford and they'll be, they'll think of things with a Ford way of looking at things. And same goes with, all of them, VW, Audi, all of them, Honda. And so it's very important. That's why being able to have a dealership or a company like us, we've got, over 170 employees. So we're able, and we have, out of those 170 employees, we probably have 130 of them are warranty admins or something like that. And those admins then are able to, we're able to send you to, be specific so that way they know that language the best. Now, we do have some that are multilingual, if you will, and can do a couple of lines or so, but we don't have any jacks of all trades. That's very important. you want to have experienced, skilled warranty administrators skilled in that OEM. And that's how you stay on top of that. And me, I only have to know a portion of it in the sense of the compliance part. And I get a lot of help from our team.
That's got to be a fortunate store to have Tyler Nathan yourself in the dealership, working with the techs and with the advisors. As is so often the case, Tyler, a lot of times fixed ops directors, general managers say to me, oh, well, warranty, we've got that covered. We've got our people in place. They've been here for many years. And then within a matter of months, maybe weeks in some cases, I'll hear from that same dealer, same general manager and say, what was the name of the fellow who was on the show again at Jupiter Warranty? Because we have a need now. Tyler, how does our audience reach out to you, whether they're ready today or whether they may just have some questions, but that need may arise in the future? What's the best way? And I know you'll be at NADA in New Orleans this week.
Yeah, it'd be great to see him at the NADA show. We're looking forward to that. So please stop by. You can see our booth number there, 7820. But also, if you're not going to the show and you want to get in touch with us, the best thing to remember is warrantymanaged.com. Go to our website. There's a lot of videos. I believe some of these videos, Ted, with
yes,
are on there. And the main thing is there's a contact us page. Fill out the contact form, and we will immediately be notified, and we can reach out to you. Somebody will reach out to you as soon as possible, and we can get started in conversations.
I see a lot of the videos with you and I talking, and then when some of the dealers I mentioned earlier, I see them scrolling on social media. So thank you so much for that, Tyler. You're a great part of our industry, extremely reputable. Jupiter Warranty Management, everybody, best in the industry, warrantymanaged.com. Tyler Nathan is with us. They will be at NADA later this week. You see the booth number scrolling at the bottom, 7820. That phone number, is that a cell number, Tyler? Or
it is. That'll ring right to me. You're welcome to text it or call anytime. Now, it's turned off right now. So if you get voicemail, just leave me a message. I'll call you back.
All right. And Tyler's very active on social media as well. So look forward to all that's ahead, Tyler. And, charting these waters with you in 2025 and beyond for our dealer colleagues. Congratulations to you at Jupiter Warranty Management.
Thanks, Ted.
Everybody, Tyler Nathan with us here today from Jupiter Warranty here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
For most dealerships, warranty administration is one of the least satisfying segments of their business. It is difficult to staff, claims expire quickly, losses are common, and there is an even greater risk of audit liability than with the IRS. Luckily, TBF Jupiter Warranty Management is here to help you improve claim quality, accelerate cash flow, increase revenue, reduce audit liability, and simplify operations with seamless integration. Much like the IRS, each manufacturer has created its own complex system for warranty administration. TBF Jupiter Management starts by requesting volume information from the dealer. This is so we can ensure that you will receive an OEM-specific warranty administration expert. Next, a consultant will visit your dealership to conduct on-site documentation training with your entire service team. Once administration begins, our assigned admins log directly into your DMS system to work on open but completed warranty repair orders. When the RO pays on the next statement, our posting team posts the revenue directly into the dealer's accounting, leaving differences on the schedule for review. And you will never have to ask us about an age discrepancy because our statements team reviews your warranty schedule each month and creates a status report of all aged balances. These overlapping teams make our service the best in the industry. Our dealers have a personal relationship with their assigned admins, and those admins get support from our entire team. That support allows our admins to process more claims than other systems and improve their efficiency. Since we collect more, improve claim quality, and cost less, the real question is, why would you do anything else? To learn more and receive a personalized quote, please visit our website and complete the online contact form at warrantymanaged.com.
Tune your radio to Service FM. Let's welcome Repair on Demand up next.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Our next stop on the Route 66 road trip is at Operational Excellence for Reconditioning. Nobody better to talk about that topic than Randy Kobat from Repair on Demand, great friend of the retail community, CEO and president of Repair on Demand. Randy, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, it's always great to chat with you.
Randy, same here. Congratulations on the success you're having. Your product, your company, all over, I'm seeing it. And, you got to be making great strides at a time when the industry is recognizing the need for this type of service and product.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited with what we've been able to accomplish over the last year through 2024, and have a really great 2025 planned.
Well, I know that profit margins have been shrinking in used vehicles, inventories back on lots, and a lot of conversation about that. And we need to be going back to being brilliant at the basics, as they say. And
Right.
Excited to talk to you about what's ahead. So what are some of the major trends that you saw last year in 2024 that are going to be impacting our audience, the dealers here today in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think both personally and in our businesses, one of the things that we've seen is inflation having an effect on our cost structures. So parts expenses are higher, labor times have come up, and it's negatively impacting our profitability at the dealership level.
Yeah, big topic. And, margins are shrinking for used cars. And, there's a lot of technology that's been in discussion, but yours is really at the head of the pack. Talk to us a little bit about that, Randy, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest opportunities that exists as far as being brilliant at the basics from a dealership perspective is really focusing in on technology-driven efficiency when it comes to reconditioning, and really having a really good understanding of the workflow that you're implementing when it comes to getting that car frontline ready faster. Using data to make better decisions on what you should fix on that car, really doing a better job up front, giving your service department as much information as possible so that they can have the parts ready, and the work scheduled to be able to get that work done faster. And then doing a much better job of connecting your dealership with third-party vendors that you use in this choreography that happens between the used car department, your fixed ops department, and third-party vendors that are doing detail work, wheel work, or PDR work.
And it's really one dealership, because you mentioned all these departments and we've called them silos over the years, but now it's really acting as one, because reconditioning is so important to what happens at the retail level.
Yeah, in many ways, the departments can operate separately. When it comes to used car capacity, you really need to get both inside the dealership and outside the dealership, those third-party vendors that you use, to work together in a chorus line, if you will, to really come through and make that dealership process sing.
Yeah. And talk to us about that, because there's a realization now in the industry that, the more vehicles that, for example, that I appraise accurately with the right information rather than guessing, the more sales I'm going to make. And it really all comes back to that. And, whether you're looking at vehicles that are coming on the service drive or otherwise, these tools are extremely valuable right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where some of the challenges present themselves, is where the people in the dealership are focused. The fixed ops department are first and foremost wanting to make sure that that car is of good quality and it's going to be safe on the road. And on the used car side, they're really looking at a saleable product that can improve profitability. And you don't have to think of them separately. You can achieve all the goals together. But just recognizing that the different parts of the dealership kind of focus on different areas first can help move everything forward faster.
So Randy, is that part of, I mentioned earlier, operational excellence and reconditioning? Is that what it means? And if not, explain to our audience what it means to you and the steps that our audience can take to help get there.
Yeah, I think one of the things is really understanding your workflow from an operational excellence perspective, and not only understanding the time that it takes for each step to get completed in the reconditioning process, but what we call idle time, the time in between each step that sometimes can really kill your time to front line. You know, when you're waiting for your PDR tech to show up on the dealer lot, sometimes they only come once a week, and sometimes that can really kill your time to front line. Sometimes really understanding what it is that you're taking in on trade, and that's why the technology enabled and data-driven decision making becomes so important, and tools like our Blue Driver Max, where you can plug that device into the OBD2 port on the car and not only now assess cosmetically what needs to be fixed on the car, but maybe mechanically what needs to be repaired on that car to give your fixed ops department a heads up sooner.
You know, customers have started to learn about these tools as well, Randy. And I've had a lot of dealerships tell us that the customer is aware and is scanning the vehicle and using this technology. Talk to us a little bit about that, because it's interesting how that's really changed the playing field.
It has. And I think we're a big part of why that's happening. We sell 10 to 12,000 Blue Drivers a month on Amazon to the do-it-yourself community. And we know from those people buying it on Amazon that sometimes it's dealerships buying them. Sometimes it's people buying the product so that they can turn off the check engine light before they drive it to the dealership to trade it in. And so there's a lot more information available now to the consumer on the mechanical side of the car, just like we've seen happen over the last decade on how much the dealership paid for that car, how much a comparable car 3 towns over might be retailing for. So there's much more transparency now happening on the trade-in side as well.
That Blue Driver of yours, okay, at Repair OnDemand, I mean, that is the tool. That is the name brand right now, Randy. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we're really excited with the work that we're doing with Blue Driver and the growth that we're having in the dealership community. And we've recently launched integrations with additional companies like vAuto, so that that data can be incorporated into the vehicle page within the vAuto application, so you can make decisions on Recon right there within your inventory management software.
I just had a panel on here, and they were talking about that exact same thing with that product, and they were telling me, "Have you heard about Blue Driver?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that guy."
Yep. Yeah, we're super excited with the work that we're doing there, and at auctions too. We're in all the major auctions, and they're incorporating that scan data in the condition report today.
I think you gave us an example earlier, but are there any others of dealerships that you work with on creating that operational excellence and how they are going about it? Any others?
Yeah, we're working with a variety of dealerships, and where it really gets extremely complex is when a dealership has centralized reconditioning. So you have multiple rooftops kind of working together through a centralized reconditioning center. And actually that creates the best experience for the dealership as far as getting the reconditioning done, because it can really act as a standalone solution for all the stores, and you can better manage your parts inventory. You can have better inventory for non-franchise parts, so that you can have better availability and get that work done quicker. But those are really the kind of dealerships where our product really has the most value.
I know a lot of times dealerships make missteps. What are some of those that you've seen at the dealership level when it comes to recon, reconditioning a vehicle, and maybe if you have a few tips to avoid that?
Yeah, I think there's like two big areas.
Okay.
One is not knowing what you're buying. So whether that's taking in on trade or even at auction, having a better understanding of what needs to be repaired on the car before it shows up on your lot or before you take it in on trade, and having a more accurate understanding of the cost associated with getting that work done. Many times dealerships today are using an average, or they put the same number on every car when it comes to a recon expense. And as we're now managing pennies and not managing dollars, 50 cents, $3, $50, $75 make a big difference when you're managing your recon expense. And we can help dealerships get more accurate upfront on what that reconditioning cost is going to be. Many times you'll see a sale happen and all the recon costs haven't been brought into the to the business office yet at the dealership, and it ends up that they've actually lost money on that used car sale because they didn't account for all the reconditioning that needed to be done. And we want to make sure we can give that information to the dealership up front so they can make better decisions on how to retail that car profitably. Another way.
That's an age-old story, by the way, right?
Oh, it is. We know it. Yeah, we know it for sure. And then I think another way that you can get really operationally excellent is to have a strategy on how to get access to quickly off-make parts. So, you know, many times if you're a Mazda store, if you're a Ford store, you have all the parts you need to do recon on a Ford or a Mazda. You're not necessarily going to have what you need to do a Chevy. And so we're excited to be able to provide solutions to bring those aftermarket parts that are off-brand to the dealership faster so that they can get those kits in the bay and installed on the car more quickly.
Randy, talk to us a little bit about electronics. The level of complexity on that particular topic is growing rapidly. And what should techs and fixed ops departments, what should they be aware of and doing now to ensure that the vehicles are up to current standards?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest growing opportunities that the dealership has, and it goes back to, you know, the things that the fixed ops department is focused on first and foremost, and that's quality and safety. And so the ADAS calibration, those automatic detection systems, the backup cameras, the lane assist technology, as this technology gets more pervasive in the market, it's important to be able to do those calibrations on every vehicle that comes into your store. And there's two things here. One is it makes that product that you're putting out on the road and selling to a consumer safer and of better quality, but it also gives you an opportunity to increase your profitability because those calibrations are typically a $500 job. And so doing that work, making that car as safe as possible is, quite frankly, right now an overlooked opportunity for dealerships. And everybody should be doing it in the next 1 to 2 years. And if you're not, it's a big opportunity for your store.
We're speaking today to Randy Kobat. He's the CEO and president of Repair on Demand, company making great strides in our industry. Randy, here we are in January, looking out over the horizon. If I had to ask you for one thing or pick one thing that fixed operations departments at the dealership should be doing right now to make themselves successful for the balance of this year, for 2025, if you had to pick one thing, Randy, what would it be?
I would say look for technology-enabled systems that can help you improve your reconditioning process. Even today, it's still mostly whiteboards and spreadsheets. And half of the market, about half of the market today, half of the dealerships in the US are still using whiteboards and spreadsheets. And there's significant opportunity to bring technology into that process and not only improve the time to front line, but improve the quality of the work that's getting done faster.
Is it difficult to get started with repair on demand if I'm a dealer or
No,
a manager watching today?
Not at all. We're very much hands-on when it comes to installing and getting our new customers up and running. We've really refined over the last year the process that we use to install and support our dealership customers. And I've taken a lot of the learnings that I've had over the last decade leading vAuto to bring some of that same processes and excellence to the reconditioning space.
Your background is second to none. Are you going to be in New Orleans later this week at NADA?
Yeah, we are super excited to be in New Orleans this week, and I hope that everybody can come see us. And we'd love to talk shop. Whether you buy our product or not, I just love to connect with people in our market.
And Randy, you really are the leader in this space. There is no second place. And the stuff that you're doing is making great strides for dealers in our industry. So I mentioned it earlier. Congratulations to you on all that's happening.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited to be where we are. And quite frankly, Ted, we're just getting warmed up.
I know you are. I could tell. Now, okay, if a dealer or somebody watching today at the dealership is not going to New Orleans, what's the best way to connect and find out more about Repair on Demand and what you can do?
Sure, absolutely. You can go to our website, repairondemand.com, and you can see all of the solutions that we have, including Blue Driver Max and our reconditioning software, Repair 360. Or you can go to repair360.com and take a deep dive into our reconditioning software platform.
All right. Randy Kobat, everybody. He'll be at NADA. I see the booth number now scrolling at the bottom, 8237. He'll be in New Orleans later on in this week. And Repair on Demand, Randy. Great job and great work and continued success. And I can't wait to hear more as we get into the year. So again, congratulations to you.
Thanks, Ted.
Everybody, Randy Kobat, Repair on Demand, reach out, repairondemand.com. You see his email scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And Randy, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
We want to make it so that every automotive dealer can use AI natively and effectively to enhance the abilities of your employees to do their job. When we look at the ROI, one of the things that we know is that if you can communicate to a customer on a missed phone call in 15 minutes or less, that drives up profitability and customer satisfaction. So not only does our AI engage that customer on a missed phone call, it also creates a workflow for the employees to get back to the customers with predictive intelligence about what they need to provide to the customer to handle the situation as it arises.
As the sun sets on day 2 of our road trip, make sure to vote for the Shon Butler Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of the event. We're stopping for dinner at the Big Texas Steak Ranch, so grab a menu because tomorrow we're digging in to day 3 of the Fixed Ops Roundtable's Route 66 road trip event at 9 a.m. Eastern.